Call the July 28th, 2026 City Council meeting to order. We'll remind everybody to silence your cell phones. Ms. Benita's gonna lead us in opening prayer, followed by the pledge of allegiance.
Most heavenly and gracious Father, we bow our heads right now. Thanking you, Lord, for this day. Thanking you, Lord, for your leading, your guidance, your shielding, and your protection, Father God. Father God, keeping your hands wrapped around us as we come in and as we go out. Father God, I ask you right now to decrease each and every one of us on this podium right now. You increasing us to make the right decisions for the city, Father God. And these blessings we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I welcome everybody to our meeting this afternoon. We call the roll, please, ma'am.
Councilman Bryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton. Councilman Winfall.
Here.
Vice Mayor Landry. Here. Mayor Kester.
Here. Approval of items on consent agenda, approval of read by title only. I guess I didn't get that bit in the There's none, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I like the sun. Should have had it up there, but yes.
Before we receive requests from general public, the city manager would like to make a statement.
I'd like to address the matter of the Jerkins photos so that we can move forward in a constructive way. First, I want to sincerely apologize to anyone who was hurt or offended by the photos I took. That was never my intention, and I do understand why it caused concern. At the core, I believe Ms. Mitchell and I likely share the same goal, a desire to see our city strengthened, our community's history respected. My focus as your city manager is and will continue to be on public safety, economic development, infrastructure, and affordability for our residents. While I regret the impact of the photos, I do not regret attending the school board meeting to speak about the rock building. That issue directly relates to several of our top priorities and the long-term well-being of our community. We live in a country where open dialogue is not only allowed but encouraged, and I welcome that. I am committed to working together, even when we may disagree, to find a solution that benefits Perry as a whole. And I welcome the opportunity to collaborate with anyone who shares the desire to move our city forward in a positive and respectful way. I'd also like to ask Attorney Demps to conduct an internal investigation into my actions and report back to the council.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
All right, agenda item 4, receiving a request from the general public. Council welcomes you to this meeting. The time is set aside for our citizens and general public to address council on any matter not included on the agenda. Do we have anybody here that's going to speak on something that's not on the agenda? I think we got some young folks here that want to address this. Sure, basically. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
My name's LaDonna Laval. My address is 7260 South Red Patrick Road, so I'm out of the county, but my businesses are at 210 East Main Street. My husband, Joe Laval, and I both own and operate Taylor Gymnastics, Cheerleading and Dance, and Kids Corner. We also run a full-time farming operation south of Cary. I want to let you know that my husband and I pour into the youth of Taylor County every day of the week. We absolutely love them. And without the place that we have, I don't know what our kids would do because we're very, very limited. We offer so much different types of instruction from ballet, point, jazz, tap, lyrical, contemporary, hip hop, pre-professional dance classes, free school gymnastics, recreational gymnastics, competitive gymnastics, cheerleading, and theater. We also have a nonprofit that we recently started because unfortunately, if you know, times are hard right now in Taylor County. You have in front of you a folder with the information if you would like to help to the donate of the youth at Taylor Gymnastics, Cheerleading and Dance and Theater. We've also established an ambassador program that will help them become leaders because one day these are the future of Taylor County and we want to pour into them. We've had ladies to attend the FSU School of Dance that's come out of our program, along with a collegiate gymnast, my head instructor, Jenny Jackson. This year, we're excited to send our largest junior Olympic team to Iowa. We have 9 talented, hardworking, and well-rounded young ladies that will travel there to represent you here in Perry. We love that we have a national stage and we get to share them. At this time, if with your permission, I'd like to introduce to you the TGC D&T 2026 Junior Olympian Team. Artistic gymnastics, Amila Beasley, please stand. Isabel Chapman. Kinley Anderson. Aaliyah Williams. Kennedy Meza. And now for our trampoline and tumbling team, Miss Gracie Van. Kirby Gerald. Anna Styles. Ladies and gentlemen, we always get the bad news, but I would love to give you some good news. This is your TGC D&T. Aubrey Jenkins, sorry. Okay, sorry if I missed anybody, but and most importantly, I wanted you to know that we have the top-notch staff. I'd like to introduce you to head coach Jenny Jackson Sharkey. She's not here, but Lisa Jackson. Amber Hurst. Alan Chapman. Mary Elsie Blanco. Penny Lee. Kelly Taylor and Rachel Copeland. Everybody will be traveling to Iowa next week. Also want to take just a minute if Jody Weeks, our Booster Club treasurer, could come forward and just explain a little bit what we have going on this Friday that we'd like to invite you to. And also brought posters of the girls. Guys. There you go. You're welcome. Thank you for your time.
So this Friday, Sheriff Wayne Paget is actually hosting for our gymnasts a fish fry at Blue Coast Federal Credit Union. So that's July 31st, where we're going to be selling plates of fish and 2 sides and a drink to make sure we can help support our young gymnasts and get them to Iowa. So because things are very difficult in Taylor County, we do have some girls who have a challenge to get there. So we are raising funds to try to help them. There's a couple of different things we're doing. So local businesses can apply for some banner fundraisers that actually allow them to market their own business in our gym, and it would stay up for a full year. And there's different levels of banners they can get. It's all, they can write it off on their business taxes, all for marketing. We have a barbecue pork meal coming from August. The meal is actually on September 4th, but the ticket sales will be from August 1st to the 31st, where the girls will be out there selling all the barbecue pork dinners as well. Ms. Styles will be taking care of the meat and getting everything set up. We have a bingo happening down with the Shriners and a 50-50 raffle. We're actually doing that twice, once in September and once in February. And then the girls will be doing an online auction November 6th, where they actually get to raise different donations through the community, and then we sell them online for the girls. And all the funds and proceeds go directly to their booster account, which is through the nonprofit Taylor Gymnastic Booster Club. And it's held in a little account for each girl to pay for their coach fees and their travels and their Leos. So that's kind of how we get there. So just know we're always looking for donations, either through our foundation or as well directly to the gymnasts by participating in all of the fundraisers that we have. So we wanted to make sure everybody was aware of those. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
You have one big picture with us?
Yeah, please.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Wow.
And that's from nationals. They went to Tennessee and got those.
Thanks, John. All right, y'all get from there, maybe. Good job, good job. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations on the wish on the There you're gonna be great. Right, is anyone else would like to speak on anything that is not on the agenda? Hearing and seeing no one, move on to item five, the heavy bids RFQs at this time. All right, moving on to general business, then item six A. Council to discuss grant overview, council will take any actions deemed necessary.
Let's move that one later. We got a lot of guests here. I'd rather get them out the way. They got somewhere they gotta be. Move it right before my evaluation. We don't. I'll move it toward the end.
We'll go that to you next. Agenda item six B, council to discuss FGU directive to assist with gas meter project. Council will take any action deemed necessary.
Good evening, council. Item 6B addresses the city of Perry's gas meter replacement project and specifically the management of that project. My name is Robert Graves. I'm the member services manager at FGU. Also in attendance with me tonight is Alex Rodriguez, our operations specialist, and Katie Hall, our CEO and GM. FGU is a nonprofit municipal joint action agency with 27 members throughout the state, and the city of Perry is one of those members. John, you want me to wait 1 second? My apologies. Get that out of the way. Probably on slide 2 right now. Hi, my apologies for that. I'll start back with who we are, which is FGU is a nonprofit municipal joint action agency with 27 members throughout the state. Perry being one of those members since 2001. And we provide a number of natural gas services, including grant writing, grant management, and project management. And all 3 of these services are currently services being provided to the city of Perry. I think, yes.
Raise your line, just a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. My fault.
Thank you.
Is that better? All right, sorry about that. And I think what's important to note with these services is the city of Perry pays an annual membership to Florida Gas Utility. And all the services are provided at no additional cost to that membership fee. All right, so moving back to the grant management and project management, I want to highlight a few of FGU's current efforts. The first one on there is a natural gas pipeline replacement project that's going on in the city of Milton. That is a $10 million project, replacing roughly 30 miles of pipeline. And that one, FGU was awarded project management responsibilities through an RFQ process. Next on there is the anode bed replacement. That's something that we've been working with the city of Live Oak on. That one actually was substantially completed roughly 2 weeks ago. And finally, FGU is assisting 3 of our members with regulator station replacement projects. And the city of Perry is one of those members that we're assisting with that. And all these projects, well, all the projects that I just discussed are federally funded projects, which involve reporting requirements to the federal government. And with the exception of that first project, the city of Milton one, FGU assisted in directing the grants that led to the awarding of those federal funds. One more project that I want to highlight for tonight is a meter replacement project for the city of Marianna. FGU became the project manager for that project earlier in this year in February. And this project is similar in scope, which is one of the reasons I wanted to highlight it here to the project that's the subject of this agenda item. For this project, we have successfully selected a qualified vendor by meters and AMI modules, and we've selected a qualified contractor to install this equipment. And last week, we actually held a kickoff meeting with the city and the aforementioned entities. And field related activities should be starting shortly.
We're gonna learn from all their mistakes.
Yes, sir. Excellent. And as I stated, the Mariana project is similar in scope to Gary's project, which is estimated to consist of approximately 1,560 meters. And this will require third-party assistance for the provision of materials and installation. Additionally, based on initial quotes, it appears that budgets will be proportional or similar. I guess one thing I did want to mention is for both cities, there are water meter replacement projects going on simultaneously, but there's a similarity between the two. So council, based on the summation of my presentation, FGU is recommending that you authorize the execution of a directive to Florida Gas Utilities to provide project management and grant management services for the city's natural gas meter replacement project. That concludes my portion of the presentation. If there's any questions.
Well, we're looking at getting started. Give or take.
Month, I would think.
Yes, sir, we can reach out to the vendors, start getting the quotes, and then as that moves along, we can similar to the Mariana project, initiate a kickoff meeting with the city staff.
They've already given us approval to use piggyback contracts. So if there's anything in Mariana's, we'll just piggyback off of what they did.
Very good. Well, that's any questions. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
I need a motion to move forward with the directive.
Motion. Second.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton.
Yes.
Councilmember Woodhull,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landry.
Yes.
Mayor Kitchen.
Yes. Agenda item 6D, FGU to discuss potential Anderson Columbia project, and can't really take any action if necessary.
Good evening. It's a good whatever you want to call it, right?
There you go.
So as Robert said, I'm Katie Hall. I'm the general manager and CEO of Florida Gas Utility. I've been in front of you a couple times in the past, and nice to see you all again. Here's a great opportunity we want to talk about, that was brought before council several years ago, and we kind of set out in the back burner, but I think it's a good time to revisit this project. So we're talking about a natural gas expansion to Anderson, Columbia. Back in 2018, we ran a 2-inch line to serve just their heater. They have always wanted from the get-go, they wanted enough gas for the burner. That's the large load that they use that heats up all the asphalt. However, that would require significantly more gas than what your existing system, the lines out front, can provide for that. So we would need to run back to the gate station and run a new 6-inch high-density line to run to the plant. It's a little over 3 miles. However, this is a really good time to look at it for a couple of reasons. One is it makes, they're using more gas there, so I think your payback periods look better. But two is we received grant funds, or the city of Perry, I should say, received grant funds to replace your gate station and your regulator station. And so part of the component of this project would be doing work at the gate station to connect in this high pressure line. We can put that into the grant, so it actually saves you quite a bit of money to do these simultaneously. The next slide shows you a map of where we would need to run. So your existing gate station, come down and go down, forget what road that is, I apologize, over to the Anderson Columbia plant. It's about 3.3 miles. It's a fairly straight shot. There's right of way room, but it shouldn't be very complicated construction. So it's a fairly straightforward project from a construction perspective.
Set down to 21 or up to 21.
Is that what you know? I took off the labels trying to make it cleaner.
We have you to there becomes up front here.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm gonna explain, yep, we're gonna go right into cost, because I know that's the $1 million question, right?
Yes.
So here's the cost estimate to run that it's roughly 3.3 miles or 17,000. So the engineering, the labor, the material, the engineering is actually, we know what that cost would be. It's slightly higher than we were expecting, only because there is a railroad crossing that is a little bit trickier, but this includes permitting. So that's actually a very good price to include the facility and going underneath the railroad. The labor and the materials are an estimate based on other projects we've recently put out to bid. We just took the same cost per foot and put it in here. It's a very, round number, but it should be very accurate. And then there's a 10% contingency. As you'll see, that's about a $930,000 project. So a significant project, but I'm gonna show you how that payback looks. So on the next slide, if you honor the same rates that they have right now for their heater, that's $5 a month customer charge and 51.54 cents per CCF. Their estimated usage based on last year is roughly 255,100 cubic feet. If you put that through on the estimated margin is a little over $130,000 a year in revenue to the city. That is not gas costs, that's just revenue. That's a payback of just over 7 years. When I was talking with the city manager about this, he said, well, let's look at it if we did a 5-year payback. So getting it as close to 5 years as we could, you'll see on the only thing that changed here is the rate per CCF. We added 20 cents to it. So it takes it from 51.54 to 71.54. This is just to show you that what we did in the past with Anderson Columbia at other cities is we give them an initial 5-year term, give them a rate like that. And as soon as that 5 years is passed, your capital investment is covered, then they go back to a normal rate. They've been very agreeable to that because they understand if the city's putting up the capital, that they're gonna need to do something to get that payback period. So we have not pitched this rate to them, but at other facilities, they've been agreeable. Other considerations on the next slide is what we typically do is we would send them an indicative term sheet that just has high level. Here would be a rough term, so we could say a 5-year term, here's what that would look like. Additionally, credit requirements. So in other locations, Anderson Columbia has been willing to provide a letter of credit that covers the capital investment. And then as they pay back over that payback period, it decreases year over year. So for instance, they're gonna cover it, and then if they use more gas than we expect, that might get paid off in 4 years. If they don't use as much gas, or they decide to close down, you could pull on that line of credit, cover your capital investment, no harm, no foul, you still have a pipeline in the ground. So you're not financially at risk for the capital investment. Additionally, this is not a dedicated line to Anderson Columbia, so if you were to have other customers that would connect into the line, that helps pay back even quicker. So this is just assuming they're the only customer on the line. The next slide is similar to what Robert just presented to you from a project management perspective. This is something FGU does lots of these gas main expansion projects, so we can do complete turnkey. I know you guys have a lot going on. This is something we're happy to take off your plate at no additional cost. So we will secure engineers, perform the design services, acquire the permits, again, including the railroad, which is a little bit tricky. We can select contractors, put it out for bid. We can acquire materials and manage day-to-day constructions. So you can be as involved as much as you want, or we can just call you when there's a problem and we'll bring you a solution to it, but we'll just bring you when you need to be involved. Otherwise, we hand you over a fully completed project and you just start generating revenue. So our recommendation tonight is to approve this gas main expansion and authorize FGU to be your project manager on this. Question?
We're gonna abandon that 2-inch line.
No, it would be supplemental. You still serve other, it just runs back on that map. I don't know if you could pull that up. It's just across the road. It's basically a little tiny portion there from the main road up to Anderson Columbia. I would recommend leaving it in there just in case it's a redundancy and you just close the valve if you need it or need to. But they'll connect into the same meter set at the same location into Anderson Columbia.
How much more volume are we, maybe you mentioned that, I don't remember, how much more volume if we're around 50 grand?
So a 6-inch line, I don't know if I put that on there. I do have the max MCF that line can handle. This load would be roughly half at the max hourly rate. So on a normal day, you'd have more space on that. It's only if they have the plant shut down and they have to turn it on, they'll use more gas initially.
You say something about the insurance policy too, or that the line of credit?
That's line of credit.
They're out of business, they're not gonna have a line of credit anymore.
You pull on that. So they pay for it and it's sitting there in your name. So that's how we did it in Lake City. So then if they, which they're not going to go out of business, but if they do go out of business, that's when you turn that in. And then you actually use that is earmarked for the city of Perry.
Does anybody ever borrow the money at a low cost, pay it back with the actual payback, not tie up their own cash? Is
Yes,
that an option?
of course.
In 5 years, you're gonna be making
132.
$132,000 a year in profit. Line paid for and you're making profit. I do it. But I think y'all should direct me into looking into finding a low interest loan. Do it. I'd rather not tie up our cash right now with everything else we got going on.
Oh, no.
I won't call it, right?
Want any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Which motion?
To move forward. Also, sorry.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, come on up, please.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Carl Badgett, 413 Worley Way. Just a quick question. I'm curious, why wouldn't Anderson Columbia pay for a dedicated line, not put the cost burden on the city, and the city make revenue off their gas use? When I got the city to come give me a quote to run a gas line from my Generac to the other side of my house, it's $22 a foot that I had to put the bill for. Why are we subsidizing the business? It was very profitable. Pay payers dollars to give that to a company to subsidize it. Even if they're gonna be here in 5 years, they could relocate. And now you're sunk $1 million. With no return. That's my question. Thank you. Okay.
I can answer part of that if you'd like. Part of that is generator usage is very sporadic, which is very common for a lot of these cities to require that on a homeowner unless they put other gas appliances that we know they're going to get a payback. If we don't have any hurricanes, no reason for that generator to turn on, that line could take 20 years to pay back, if ever. And a lot of times the generators might not even be used at that point. That's just to answer that to you. Not picking on you, just telling you that is very standard. On the other hand, with Anderson Columbia, they do have other alternative fuels. And for a large user with a 5-year payback, that is always a good investment in the city. They're not in the business of running gas lines. They're not in the business of operating and maintaining them. The city is. This is the service they provide. This would require several large residential neighborhoods to offset or to generate the same amount of revenue that you will generate from one customer. And it is not a dedicated line, which is also beneficial to any growth that you experience. You can run neighborhoods off of it. You can run other commercial load. Just to give a little clarification, very good point, and I appreciate that.
One more quick question. You did say there was a 2-inch dedicated line already there,
It's
correct?
not a dedicated line, it's a 2-inch service line,
Service line.
which is just like a service line that runs to your house, just for commercial.
So there's already gas there for the residents in that location, correct?
To some degree, yes, but it's a 2-inch line, so it's limited. So that would, if a new neighborhood comes in that has generators, that would not.
I'm all for spending money to make money,
Yeah.
but if Anderson Columbia needs gas, only Anderson Columbia pay for the gas, while the city up.
Well, I'm guessing if they paid for the line, it would be just their line.
Correct.
We did it, tap into it for anything else,
Correct.
or sell gas to anybody else.
Correct. And then you also would have to trust them to operate and maintain it safely as connected into your system. So it becomes a very good liability.
How long has this project been going in Lake City?
We did that in 2015, I believe. Mariana also has a facility. We work with Anderson Columbia quite a bit.
And anyone asked to see any statistics from
What
those
you
cities?
say?
Sorry, I can't. Oh, I couldn't hear what somebody's better speaking. I can't hear. Please come up, brother. Thank you.
My name is Regina Edwards. I'm from 212 King Drive, and it's very to the Glen Westwood Gate subdivision. Off Bucket Road. The thing I wanna know is, have you brought any of that information with you to actually show from other cities how that works, the benefits of it, the payback from it, how it works, how connections work? That way we don't just hear a performance, we see evidence.
This is kind of the evidence, right? Because every city is slightly different. The cost of the line, it's different mileage, it's different, it's the exact same calculation we do, just on those specifics. So the payback period, the rates, all of that, this is based on those cities.
Yes, I understand that, but it still does not give us evidence of the act. You're telling us what it will do. You're not telling us what it has done.
No, it has done. I mean, based on their usage, that's what this is. We know what these plants run, because they're an existing plant. They're just using diesel and they're using fuel oil. So we know exactly how much they burn. We converted it then to gas. So these are real numbers. These are not hypothetical. This is how much that plant actually burns.
And so it also says, how it affects, like you just asked about the line and how much performance is that included based on the inches of the line and the performance of the globe? Is that included up there?
I'm sorry, you can clarify. I don't understand.
You said there's a connector line, right? A line that's already there that you're gonna connect it to.
We're running it from the gate station. We're gonna run a new line, because the one right now is like 2-inch. That's not enough to serve the load. So we need to run a 6-inch line, which is much bigger. And you can't connect a 6-inch into a 2-inch, right? That's a bottleneck. So we have to run up to the gate station and run a brand new 6-inch line down. So it'll parallel a lot of that 2-inch line.
Okay.
So then we'll connect them so it'll be looped, so that you just have more available gas on that whole section.
So the 2-inch won't work anymore.
No, it will. So everybody hooked into the 2-inch will remain into the 2-inch, but we'll connect them so that you just have additional ability. So like on a really cold day, people or generators kick on, if they're pulling from the 2-inch, the 6-inch can supplement the 2-inch.
But you say you can't tie 6 inches.
You can connect them, it can't be 2-inch feeding just a 6-inch, right? But you can connect them to, like the 6-inch is still gonna run that whole thing. It'll be connected, it can be connected with the 2-inch as an additional, pressure.
Which was my next question. You have evidence of showing how that works and how that benefits neighborhood in previous neighborhoods and previous cities.
Yes, I mean, that's just flow rate analysis. So we know how much pressure is in that line and we know what it requires to maintain that pressure.
And how many people have been using it consecutively?
Well, your 2-inch is not having any problem serving the customer load. So we don't. What is existing now is irrelevant, I guess, on this. This is just giving you more growth expansion. You don't have a problem right now with your existing load. This is just giving the ability to grow new customers.
Okay.
So Anderson's using all they're gonna use?
Right now,
Yes,
no, they would like to use a lot more. We can't get them enough.
that's what I'm getting at,
Yeah.
they want to grow they want full flow, they want to buy more gas.
Yeah, they would buy a lot more
We
gas.
can't sell it to them if we have.
Correct. We can't get enough gas to them. They want to buy a lot more than what we're able to get to them right now.
The 2 inch is not enough.
It's not enough, correct. And it's lower pressure. So it's lower pressure and it's just a small diameter, right? So we're gonna do a larger diameter and a higher pressure, so we can get a lot more gas there. So if you're gonna invest that money, invest it for growth opportunity on top of it, not just to meet the need, because then you're gonna be in the same boat in the future.
Amen.
And in case another business decide to relocate in that area,
Exactly.
what would we?
Exactly. And you can see in that area, there is a lot of vacant land. That would be a good place for a larger user in Wilson Group. So you would be set up and that would be a good selling point to them.
That's a long trailer on the railroad track.
Yeah, it's a really ideal location.
John? What did you suggest?
We look into getting a low cost loan, put the line in. It's a no brainer, just similar to what we did with the apartment complex. We're not collecting property taxes for the first 5 years and then 75% the next 5 years. This is the same thing. For the first 5 years, we're just not collecting revenue off of it. We make revenue for year 6 and beyond.
You're not making over, it's going to zero until the loans pay off.
We'll lose a little bit in interest, but over the 5 years, but
But this thing will be zero income until the loan's paid off. Yes, sir, come on, come back up, please.
Given the new information, could we perhaps, get Anderson Columbia into a contract that if they leave that area in the first 5 years, they put the rest of the bill?
That's what
to
we're
cover the city
That's
cost?
in there.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's in there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah,
No,
I think it's something, what I heard it said over, I'm gonna lose money, anyway, it goes. So.
correct, you are protected, and they understand, right? Cities can't risk a capital investment without that protection, so they're reasonable about it.
Thanks, if you want. That's all.
That's 27.
It's gonna cost.
The whole project is roughly $934,000 is our best estimate. Also, we would true it up once we have actual costs.
It'll lay right along with the other lines, you'll have your right away,
Yep, they will all be
Yeah.
public right away, yep.
generally. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
My comment would be, why didn't it put a 6-inch in the first place?
I agree with that.
I wish I knew that
They were gonna
answer.
need, they were gonna need as much as they need.
I wish I knew that answer. What I don't know, I would guess that Anderson Columbia built that facility. Do you know how long they've been there? It might have been there, right. Yeah,
What's even worse, is we should have put a gas in and ran the water line to the.
It's somebody doing something that they don't have a clue what they're doing.
I wasn't here when those decisions were made, otherwise I would be able to explain the thought process.
Anyway, any more discussion or questions, so I'm gonna take a motion.
Or if they need a motion, we try to find the loan, I'll have to bring that back to you anyway.
Okay. We're not gonna do any, we're not gonna take any action on this, nothing.
It's giving me to go ahead and move forward with work on the project. I'll be a motion for that.
Everybody in agreement with that?
He's just now touching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Then down to P, council to discuss grants.
Sean asked if she could go first, to get me out of here. If you got that.
I think about it.
Y'all are okay, yes,
Wait, Sean.
great, thank y'all. Okay.
Is this good news?
Well, you know. Define good news. There you go. Anybody got one? And if anybody else would like one, they're right here. Okay. So good afternoon, good evening. Thank y'all so much for having me. John, give me yours. Here we go. Okay. So this is our 2026 City of Perry preliminary tax roll presentation. If y'all have any questions during this whole entire presentation, please stop me and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. This year, we've got 76% of our total taxable value is real property. And 23% is tangible property. And as y'all are very aware, real property is the buildings and the land that sit on the actual properties. And the tangible personal property is the equipment used for businesses.
What's the central assessed?
Centrally assessed, yes ma'am, thank you for asking. So that's the 0.1%.
And essentially assessed is the railroad lines. So that is also assessed to the tax roll, and we get that information from Department of Revenue each year. Okay, we have the 2026 real property taxable value breakdown on page 3. The majority of your tax roll is improved residential property. And 32% is commercial, so you have a good, healthy commercial base. Then the rest is agricultural and vacant residential and other. And so, yes, majority of your tax roll for real property is improved residential. Page 4. Out of those residential properties that we talked about, you have 60% are homestead exemptions. 40% are not. And so that is also an interesting pie chart to pay attention to as the proposed amendments come up, and what those numbers would actually look like for y'all. That would be 60% of 60%. And of course, that's not the entire tax base, it's just a portion of it. So I think the first year, if it does pass, the first year would go up to $150,000 exemption, and then the next year would be a $250,000 exemption, so. Okay, so page 5, we have the 2026 City of Perry taxable value by type. And real property totals, the total changes for this year was $28,385,358, which was an increase of 10%, a little over 10%. Intangible personal property, that change went down $24 million to $67,640, for around negative 20.9%. And as most of you know, that's business equipment, and we have depreciation for business equipment. So each year, if we do not have investments, new equipment, that number will continue to go down. So that makes a total change of positive $4,117,718 for a total percentage increase of 1.1%. Page 6. City of Perry taxable value trends for 2016 to present. That's pretty self-explanatory and pretty consistent with what we've seen throughout Florida, especially through the real estate boom from 2019 onward. Page 7 is the value of new construction trends. I thought this was very interesting and good for y'all to see that for many years, it was very consistent around the same value. And then this year with the new apartments, it went to $20,687,135. So of course, that's not just the apartments, that's the total of new construction for the whole incorporated city, but the total is 20 million, and majority of that is the apartments. One more thing, Miss Carly kind of wanted me to walk y'all through the rollback rate and why that looks so different. And if we could stick with that screen, John, it's gonna paint the picture more clearly. So of course, I'm not usually one to talk about millage rates, because that's not what I do. I do values, y'all do the millage rates. But Carly kind of wanted me to just, talk about the process, the trim process, and why that rollback rate is going to be so much higher this year than it usually is. Let me pull up my notes, because I don't do this every day. So rollback rate is a number required by Florida's truth and millage law, and it gives the public a consistent point of comparison. In simple terms, it answers the question, what millage rate would produce approximately the same property tax revenue from the existing tax base as last year, after removing this year's net new taxable value. So in other words, what would the millage rate be to give us what our values were last year without that huge increase of $20 million? Because they want to show the public what it would look like if that net new wasn't a part of it. What if it was last year? What would that millage rate look like? So, and I'll kind of continue on. So For the city of Perry, the total taxable value for operating purposes increased from 378 million last year to 382 this year. However, this year's roll included that $20 million in net new taxable value. So the trim calculation removes that net new value for purposes of the rollback comparison. So that is why you're looking at a rollback rate of 6.1077 mils this year, when last year's adopted rate was 5.8336 mils. The important point is that a higher rollback rate does not by itself mean the city is raising taxes, and it does not mean anyone's rate has already been set. It reflects the statutory comparison required when a large share of this year's increase in the tax roll comes from a new value that is excluded from the rollback calculation. Did everybody grasp that?
Sure.
Yeah. Carly, most importantly, Carly, did you grasp that? Yeah, okay, because Carly can sit down and really break down what that means. But the reason that she really kind of wanted me to hone in on it was because we haven't really seen an increase like that, a new construction increase like that in a long time. So that's why that millage rate would have looked differently and why y'all have to, vote on that accordingly. So any other questions?
Did you touch on what happened? If the proposed property tax don't pass.
I did not, but I'm glad that you asked, because we did produce these numbers for the legislature, right when they started talking about this. And if y'all, let's see, if it did pass, the city of Perry, just the first year, 2027 is the first year that it would go through, is $150,000 exemption for all your homesteaders in the city. And the difference of revenue would be around $474,000 each year. And then the proposal, of course, it is proposed to go the next year to $250,000. And that would look closer to $556,000. Correct.
So.
So of course, huge help for homeowners, but, and I did look into the fiscally constrained counties. So for counties that are fiscally constrained, like Taylor County, they put in I believe they put in this proposal to cover fiscally constrained counties, that had that revenue loss based off of an amendment. So we already have that. So right now, based off of the 2008 amendment, any loss that we had from those exemptions, the state covers us, the county, 95%. So they included that language in this. I'm almost positive they included that language.
I think they got it very end.
Did they take it out?
I thought they were it's very.
Okay, I'm just gonna double check on it, but the last time I checked, I really thought that they did,
I
but
think they got like the last day.
last day. Okay, so don't listen to me. Okay, yeah. No,
Was it included?
anyways,
It would not.
didn't, the,
Oh, it's not.
so, and what I was gonna say was it's not included in the city, I said. Even though you're inside of a fiscally constrained county, that money does not come to the city, so. Just thoughts. Yeah, right, so just thoughts, but yes, those would be the numbers if you, if it did pass, and yes, any other questions? Thank you. Just give me a call, our office is always here to help, if you ever have any questions, okay? Thank you. We'll get this back down.
Thank you.
Right. You want to do the dream grant? Any other reasons we don't get agenda or to?
But yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's D.
So
So there's somebody here for D as well.
okay.
Okay, then item 6D, council to discuss dream grant and the council will take any action deemed necessary.
Amy McCullough, 2315 Morgan Whitten Road. I'm the secretary of the Women's Club. I thank you. I understand all the things we talked about last time. And I don't want to take away anything from Jerkins or any of the other nonprofits. I understand that nonprofits aren't covered. Just wanted to thank you for considering our request the last several months. And there's not much else to say. Perry Women's Club on Jefferson, we took a hit in the hurricane. It looks bad, but we're working on it. The club owns the building, the city owns the land. We take care of all the maintenance. Our funds are tight, but I know the all funds are tight. But we just wanted to thank Mr. Hart and all of you for at least considering our requests. Thanks. Right, it was my last week. We were waiting for Mr. Hart to come back. Oh, well, table, I'm sorry, but you were talking about,
It's not, there's been no decision. They tabled it for today.
thank
Okay.
I was asked,
I hope you wrote this, and if you would just.
sure, at the last city council meeting, I was directed to research the CRA grant that provides the funds for the DREAM grant, to see if there was any disqualification or prohibition for civic or nonprofit organizations to receive funding through this grant. I looked at it especially through CRA funding period, primarily because the CRA funds are accumulated through property taxes or also taxes that are going towards property. And since nonprofits and civic organizations mostly do not have to pay those taxes, I was vested with that opportunity to research. What I found is that the Florida law does not disqualify a civic or nonprofit organization merely because of its tax exempt status, and does not itself, or the fact that it does not itself contribute ad valorem taxes to the CRA trust fund. However, under the DREAM grant guidelines, and we being the city of Perry, did adopt the DREAM grant guidelines as purported by the state without any changes. Presently, under that DREAM grant, the Perry Women's Club eligibility depends primarily on whether its property qualifies as being used for commercial, mixed use, or active ground floor commercial purposes. In other words, the tax exemption status is not the legal standard for who gets these particular grants. The current program's commercial use restriction is. I know there was discussion as well as, I believe, in 2 meetings, discussion of the Perry's Women Club being a renter of property for events. I think one of the descriptions was reunions. I think pretty much they gave a list mostly of the space being used to host events that can be done private or rented by private individuals and organizations. So my recommendation regarding conclusion that the Women's Club is not disqualified, they can be reviewed, although still be up to the city council just because of their nonprofit status. It really is looking at what the particular contribution would be regarding commercial or mixed use facilities for the public good. I wanted to note that if the property operates as an active rental event or mixed civic commercial facility, it reasonably qualifies under the existing guidelines. And so that was sort of like the big question. And one of the things that I did note in all that long stuff I sent you all was that although the particular grant we adopted, or the CRA plan that we adopted was directly from the state, we did as a local matter create the application. And I just wanted to note that one of my suggested remedies, regardless of what you may decide as to this present application, just in general, I would suggest that the council take the opportunity, since this has been brought forward, to clarify whether or not, as a local governing body, if you all want to prohibit civic or nonprofits. That is very different, because the grant does provide that the local body, the CRA board, which is the city council, could change guidelines as long as the change is amended for the overall public good and doesn't go against what the state prohibits. Like, if they prohibit something, you can't then say, oh, no, this is for religious organizations only. But you can create a definition as to what serves, in the capacity of mixed-use commercial, uses. But I just want to know, on our application locally, it does say business name, and it's followed by if applicable. So that may suggest that a business is not always required. But I think most notably, under the application, which is not in the law regarding the grant, the applicant may select commercial as a use, mixed use, or other. And then it gives a line to describe it, which may suggest that, well, it does suggest that you don't have to have commercial or mixed use based on our local application. But I just wanted to note that, that even though that could suggest that, generally we don't override the substantive eligibility restriction contained in the grant. So I just wanted to note that there's other clarities that can go into the application by this council. That doesn't have to be an ordinance, but you know, if you all wanted to take the other off, for instance, so there's no confusion about the type of uses that the applicant would have to apply, that may be one way to help with that. And so it's really up to you all to determine if you feel like this property, this applicant or any other applicant, nonprofit or not, if it does classify as a property that has commercial or mixed use. And again, I suggest that you clarify, at least in the application or by your vote, if you want to amend your guidelines to prohibit nonprofits or allow nonprofits. Here's an example of the suggested language. Maybe eligible participants include owners or authorized tenants of qualifying commercial, mixed use, civic, cultural, charitable, or nonprofit properties located within the Perry Community Redevelopment Area. So again, the defining jurisdiction is the CRA area. And to make it clear that properties exempt from ad valorem taxation shall not by itself render the property ineligible. So it's like language like that that may assist in people understanding what the city council intent would be. But you can decide if you want to revise that, or at least at the very minimum, clarify if there is some type of change you want based on the nonprofit aspect of a business. And my last point, which I almost say with trepidation because I'm not trying to create another issue, but not making it based on the women's club application alone. The question that may just be on another agenda in the future is, what if a charitable civic nonprofit applies and has no commercial or mixed use? They don't rent out, you know, because right now, as the grant reads, there is no guideline regarding that. I'm not saying we need one, the grant doesn't provide one, but I know at the minimum, the discussion to city council meetings ago was whether or not a nonprofit could participate. And then it was whether or not last week, whether the guidelines for the grant prohibited it. So the answer to that is yes, a nonprofit can, based on the grant, guidelines can participate. And yes, a nonprofit could apply if, like any other applicant, there's a commercial or mixed use.
Who makes the final decision on this?
Well, as the city council, you make the final decision as the CRA board, who receives any of the money they applied for. That's your decision. And what I was asked to do was clarify, is there anything from the law preventing you granting it to a nonprofit, so. I'm saying the law says, no, there's nothing preventing,
Okay,
but it's your decision.
well, if I may, when that decision was made that we were not going to support nonprofits, my understanding of it was that we were not gonna take our funds that we really didn't have at the time and try to help out the nonprofits. To me, these are not our funds. They're coming from somewhere else inside. And if somebody has applied for them, then I think we can decide out of all the applications who gets it. But I don't have any problem with it myself. Even though we have that ordinance, I don't feel like it pertains to money that we're getting from outside. Does that make sense?
It's coming it's coming from a particular geographic area, the use in that particular geographic area.
Well, that plus is it a state grant?
No, it's
It is, go ahead.
It's coming from 32 years ago now. They stopped the taxes for the downtown area. Anybody in that downtown area, your taxes froze. Everything that goes up above that, as your values went up, goes into the CRA. City taxes and county taxes. So it is, the people in the CRA are the ones contributing to the CRA.
Okay.
And I've been approving them if they meet the eligibility of our criteria that we laid out, I've been approving them. This one was kind of on the fence to me. And they asked for a second opinion. Y'all are the CRA board, so I said I'd bring it to y'all.
Yeah.
But we've already approved 6 or 7 of it, but this one was just a little bit,
Nobody else has applied for it this year.
yeah, we've approved
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them.
Yeah.
Forget all this profit, nonprofit.
Okay.
The city owns that building. And we are charged with maintaining the building equipment and whatever of city.
Yeah. I thought we only owned the land.
We only own the land.
We own, they own the buildings.
We
they
own the building,
land.
you own the land, we
Yeah.
own the building.
Right. But it is, in my opinion, it is an effort to protect our property. Even though it's taking care of the building, it's still an asset and it's a move in the right direction to protect our property.
As long as it's legal, I'm fine with it. That's all I want to make sure it was legal.
Is that legal?
It's definitely legal. There's nothing prohibiting it.
Okay, my only thing is nothing against the women's club. I have a problem with that we're just going and looking for grants just for uptown. It's not fair to the other nonprofit, or however you wanna put it, that they don't never get anything back from us. You see what I'm saying? That's very unfair to other nonprofits. It's like we keep giving and giving uptown, but we're not trying to do anything in other districts. So that is where my problem comes in.
But is it earmarked for downtown?
I've asked on multiple times. I know if we got one grant going, we can't have another one going over here. But I've asked them multiple times and other city managers to look for something in other areas that we can get. Because everybody's having hard times. It's just not one area.
Right.
So,
I agree. I know there are merchants outside the city. The downtown city limits, they're still in the city, but they're not in the core. And they were never included and they were not happy about it.
I believe you can have multiple CRAs within the city.
I was always told you couldn't.
I think you can.
You told me you couldn't, and the previous one told me that you couldn't. I remember, you don't remember me and you had that conversation?
It's a whole lot of work and you don't make the money for the first 10 years. It's that increase that goes into the CRA itself.
And I understand that, John, but it's the fairness.
I mean, look, I think.
Now, as it relates to the CRA district, I'm sorry. I heard you, but I didn't know, I apologize. Really quickly, regarding just this particular pot of money from the CRA trust, that is being funneled through the state. I understand, that what does make it different is it is in the district, it's downtown, all the things you all noted. Councilmember Landry, in my looking back at what was stated or said, because I actually haven't seen that it says that the city can't support nonprofits. I think the discussion was to not donate money to nonprofits. What probably it keeps butting up against, that there are certain institutions there's certain, organizations that institutionally have had support. For instance, the Women's Club, they've had a lease for 100 years plus. So there is in fact arguably an in-kind donation of sorts, but it's been ratified through the way the land was allowed. You see the same thing with Boys and Girls Club. You see, so those who have been here longer with longer institutional support are receiving, some could argue, in-kind donated support. But if you have not had that support, then what I understand is that whenever that discussion was made that at this time we don't have the budget, we're not supporting nonprofits or charitable, we're not doing charitable giving. I think the words were, we're not a charity. So donations, those newer organizations that don't have the institutional support did not enter a lease in with the city to have something for $1 for 100 years. They look at these types of movements, even though it's not being funded by the city. They look like, well, how, we can't go back in time and get this support. So, you know, but I don't know that this answers that, but it may be something based on what the council may desire that we should look into whether or not, as Councilmember Landry, go back to that question of what's the intent. It was never meant to just, I guess, from what I'm hearing, to just eliminate any support potential to nonprofits, but that's how it's come off in the last few years. And that may be, again, it won't answer the CRA thing because the CRA is not gonna change this in downtown, but maybe there needs to be, even if we have no money, in the future, if we come on a windfall, that we have other nonprofits and civic organizations who may believe that they could come to the council with a request that if it serves the public interest and we have the money and all of the great things, that maybe doesn't become like a prohibition. I can't go up there because they don't do that. And that may be sort of, again, not answered by this application of CR, but maybe something in the future, if the council will incline, that we may need to look at. But I know it's hard to budget when there's no money. So these grants do provide money, and everyone is welcome to get us some grants for the city so that we can answer those questions.
Not ready to open that can of worms, but.
May I now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Lord. I just want to clarify one thing. The city meant when it said that we would not support nonprofit. It wasn't because we didn't have funds. It was because an organization came before us for funds, and that was Jerkins. Gave Jerkins $5,000, and from then on, it was, we would not do this for anyone. That was the reason for that policy. Now, we do need to go back and reassess that because I think it's kind of doesn't look good on our behalf. But anyway, that's all I want to say. We did it when we said it. You're welcome. Now, do we need to vote? What?
Sorry, come forward, please.
Yes, I can. I'm Regina Edwards again, from 212 Cape Drive. I have a question. I kind of understand.
Just come to the podium, on the recording, they can't hear you.
Cell phones.
Hi, I'm Regina Edwards, and I'm 212 Cape Drive. I have a question. I understand that if this, it was for downtown, it was meant for downtown, to keep it up, right? I get that. And you're saying that you intentionally said what you said, and now you see that it needs to be reconsidered.
That's not the scary.
I understand that, but just stay with me. So, but.
I
you
didn't say it.
I understand, but that's what I said, that's why I said in the beginning, I understand that this funding is for the downtown. Let me restate that again. I understand that this grant is for the downtown
Yes.
funding and upkeep. Okay, now that I said that, that's not separate. Okay. What I'm saying is, you just made a statement of what happened, that you are not a charity, and you don't wanna give to nonprofits, but now it needs to be relooked at again. Can you do it? And do it without discrimination? And can you then make up a grouping, a council, to find the means to do it? And so it doesn't, like you said, look bad against the city. It becomes an initiative to make a move, instead of just consider it and bring it before a council meeting. There needs to be some action behind it. I'd like to see that. And I'd like to see it soon.
Would you like to see your utilities double?
I don't think it takes, let me say this. I wanna see the money that Florida Power is putting in, and then I'll discuss that with you. You tell me the money that Florida Power.
Florida Power.
Oh,
What's the next,
Duke Energy.
Duke Energy, thank you. Show me money that Duke Energy is putting into nonprofits, and we'll talk about that.
I don't know.
He brought it to me, I didn't bring it to you.
got to do with what we do?
Well,
I didn't bring Duke Energy to you, he brought it to me.
if I can interrupt this, and, you know, I know we're here talking about the drain grant for the,
Yes,
for the women's club. We can agenda this for another night if you would.
you can, and all I'm saying
Let's
is,
talk about it, I mean, we.
you know, what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be a long conversation. What I'm saying is, I'm putting it since it was brought up. I'm putting it before you,
Sure.
saying that, hey, I live here. You see the problem, you see that there are problems going on. This grant is proving that there's a problem. That's the point, that this is a foundation of proving that there's a problem. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Because as she just stated, if there was greater clarification, even on this grant, there wouldn't be so many issues. Okay, so that's why I brought it up.
Thank you.
And so that's what I'm asking, since you see the complications with that, and you see the issue, then helping with the issues will solve the issues that's dealing with this grant, that won't have a future issue. It will be solved, instead of just patching, solve. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
I think if there had been just another sentence, yes. That may have said, if funds allow.
Yes, that's.
Then, then we wouldn't be really
Yeah.
like that.
Yes, you do understand what I'm saying, that there's a foundation for my point. My point doesn't come out of right or left field, that there's a reason for my comment, and it's because of the grant and the conversation that we're having. I'm not saying we sit here and converse about it for 5-15 minutes. I'm saying, listen to me, take it aside, you discuss it on your personal individual time, and come up with a solution. And then you bring it back. And I'm more than willing to get up and talk about it anytime.
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more discussion about the drain grant? Amongst anyone, council? Not entertain a motion.
Motion to follow the guidelines.
I will second it because of the clarifications that we received.
That's a motion to follow the guidelines of not donating to nonprofit.
No,
Which guidelines are your guys, please?
The guidelines,
Basically, attorney's opinion, I believe, or guidelines.
that the guidelines does not prohibit a nonprofit, so you all would still, you still have to decide if the person or applicant can get it, but there's no prohibition against nonprofits applying as long as there's a commercial or mixed use. Which is what following the guidelines, is. I just wanted to make clear.
Is that what you meant by that? Just to, would it get forward with a drain grant for the women's club?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. You second that?
I did.
You second that? Okay.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton,
Yes.
Councilmember Woodcock,
No.
Vice Mayor Landry,
Yes.
Mayor Kitchen.
Yes. Agenda item 6E, council to discuss modular homes in the city limits, and council will take any action deemed necessary.
I requested this piece on the agenda because of their homes that appear to be mobilized. Both houses, there's a lot of questions why are we not approved? To put a mobile home on our property. And I just need to know what must be a 399 stating.
Mike Morrison, 3483 South Ironboat Parkway. And to answer your first question, putting mobile homes on your city property is, not what we're doing. That we're putting modular homes, which if you read your LDRs and your actual land codes, it specifically states that modular or site-built homes be placed on these properties. So you'll look at the paperwork that you've been presented with. You'll see the full set of blueprints that comes with these homes in the back. You'll see your DBPR stickers in the very, it'll be the last page back there, last pack of paper stapled together. These are 150-mile-an-hour certified houses or modular homes.
What it would make a hard fix hard, maybe overspend winds or.
Yeah, they're 150-mile-an-hour certified stamped blueprints built, they're built to Florida building code.
What makes them different from manufacturers?
Yes.
They're built to Florida building code.
Right, manufacturers not,
Manufactured homes are built to HUD code.
which is not for the building code.
So you get either a wind zone 1, 2, or 3. Wind zone 1 homes are not allowed in the state of Florida. Wind zone 2 homes are built to 100-mile-an-hour wind code, which is what Taylor County allows for a manufactured home. Wind zone 3 homes are built to 110 mile per hour.
We say 3 homes, you mean category 3.
Wind zone 3, no category 3. So in manufactured housing, you have a wind zone 2 or a wind zone 3.
Zone.
Just zones,
Wind, I'm clarifying, wind zone.
just what the stat, that's the data plate that's stamped on the inside of a manufactured home. It says wind zone 2 or wind zone 3. There's a sheet in there that's gonna give you that data as well. Yep, right here, it's got state of Florida on it. Wind zone 2 is what is standard in Taylor County. That's what you guys approve for countywide. The areas inside your city limits that do allow the manufactured housing, they only require a zone 2 home.
How old is this map, you know?
That is the current map.
For this term, okay.
What areas inside the city do allow that? I mean, where?
So Taco Heights, subdivision over that area, if there's a lot of your area inside your city limits that still allows manufactured housing.
Residential, single family / mobile home zonings.
I know there's a lot of towns been there for years.
So, I mean, I'm currently under construction right now. I've got probably, I think, 7 properties right now that we're doing inside the city limits. We're developing the 55 acres on 221 North.
Okay, I wondered what was going in there.
Yeah, so we've got 55 acres right there that we're developing that's inside your city limits as well.
That one's being cleared right now.
Yeah, that's the one that's being cleared right now, that we're intending to put probably upwards of, I don't know, there should be 75, 80 home sites once we get all of the development and civil work done.
And where is this?
221 North on the left side across from Dollar General. It's actually either or, so half of the subdivision falls in manufactured, half falls in modular.
One question that's hard for me to understand, and that's the reason you're here today. Everywhere I read is that had to be put a permanent foundation. Explain to me what that means.
Okay, so that is lingo that people automatically assume is what it is. What it has to be done is it has to be put on a engineered foundation. So it goes through an engineer, which you also have a copy of in your file. Actually, Ms. Woodbox looking at it on your right-hand side of your paper. On the right. No, you covered it up.
Right here?
Yep. See, that's got a stamp on it from a Florida licensed engineer that designed that foundation. That you nor I nor anybody else in the state can override. I have to build that foundation to what he says it has to be. So once an engineer or an architect, one of those guys comes and says, this is how we're gonna fasten this home to the ground, that's what I have to do. So it can look different. A manufactured modular unit has specific ways that plumbing hooks up, electrical hooks up, HVAC units hook up. But if you set them flat on the way they're building them nowadays, if you set them flat on a slab, you can't hook up AC ductwork underneath it. You can't run your plumbing pipes out from underneath it. You know, they're built in a factory controlled environment that sometimes, you just can't put them on flat slabs.
Is that the way it used to be?
Back a long time ago, when mods first started coming out, see, this was developed for areas, modular construction was initially developed for areas that only have 3 or 4 months of availability to build outside. Way up in the very cold climates where they wouldn't build homes but 3 or 4 months a year. So as modular construction got popular up there, it kind of trickled down to everybody else. So here we build them in a way now that it's just not conducive to put them on flat slabs.
So you're doing, poured piers and, I think.
No, it's dry stack, dry stack column. What the engineer stamps and seals and sends to me. I get an email that, with a set of plans that says build this foundation.
Okay.
I send that to the build department approves them with the plans, and that's what we do.
So that they serve on concrete blocks,
Mhm.
just like the mobile home.
Just like a manufactured home, fasten onto the ground. We put anchors and ties
And then how do you expose it?
with
Just
skirting.
regular. Seems that it come along quicker. And now I think I'm confused. Maybe I'm supposed to because I don't understand. Every modular home that I see, it has been in our community. So for years, I don't recall them ever being up on the blocks. And again, I could be wrong. Just help me out, just a little bit more.
Well, I went through this right after Hurricane Michael hit Fort St. Joe. We had a customer that came and bought a home from us. That the city council said, no, you can't do that house. We don't accept these modular homes in our city. He actually hired an attorney. And a modular home is a modular home. It doesn't matter what I think a modular home, the code doesn't say, what does Mr. Morrison's vision of the modular home's aesthetic values and the beauty of it, or what it sits on and how it's fastened to the ground or any of that look like is. Plus, site-built homes are available to be put on this piece of property. The code reads modular homes or site-built homes. 150C modular or site-built. So
What's the difference between a modular and a site built? I thought they were the same.
one's built in a factory and brought to the property completed and then put together minutely, certain things finished. What's that?
That's like a mobile.
No. They follow 2 completely different building codes. If I do a manufactured home, it follows HUD code. HUD is the federally recognized building code. You have 20 states that don't have state building codes. They follow HUD code. Okay, HUD came up with a building code because places like Montana, places like Wyoming, these people that don't have the population that demand a particular state organized building code. The federal government says, okay, this is gonna be federally recognized minimum code. You, as the state of Florida, if you want, you can go above and beyond this. But you have to minimally build to HUD. When you do Section 8 housing, when you do stuff that doesn't have to follow local Florida code, we do that on a budget, right? We build much less expensive housing, but we can follow HUD code instead of Florida building code.
That's when you see the SHIP program.
Correct. Well, you not necessarily, because SHIP program a lot of times most time you're gonna follow Florida building code.
Okay.
But there's other types of housing that you can develop and build through HUD code.
Okay.
You tell them what happened in January.
And January, I mean, in January, you got that bill in here anyway. I mean, it specifically says that you guys need to address your planning and zoning departments before January 1st, before your home and landowners and their attorneys do it for you. That's in the bill that came. It says that the state representatives put out, it says, our recommendation to local municipalities is that you address, the verbiage says, you need to address your local planning and zoning departments before your land owners and their attorneys do it for you.
We got that.
You got that? Bill 390.
Meaning what?
Because as of, on March the 27th, 2025, the state of Florida passed a law that says any piece of property that allows a single family residence. Let me say that again. Any piece of property that allows a front door that has a single family residence that my family or his family or any of these people's family can open up and walk in and live in, you must also allow a manufactured or a modular home there. House Bill 399, it's in your packet. And it's signed into law. It is signed into law, it's in your packet. It passed on March 27th, it goes into effect January 1st. This coming year.
2027.
So that means anywhere land that they wanna build on.
If they wanna go, it don't matter, it don't matter, the nicest, I've got one of my best friends, so it says you must be in compliance by January 2027, right? So many of your municipalities and counties have adopted this already. Columbia County has already adopted this. I've got a very good friend of mine that lives there in a very, very wealthy neighborhood. He just listed his house for sale for $770,000 because 2 lots down, they just put a mobile home.
Yeah, a lot of people there doing that.
A mobile home, not a modular home, a mobile home.
Either way, they gotta let whatever you wanna put there.
So, and it says in there specifically, you can come up with, neighborhoods can come up with aesthetic things that you can require hardy plank, you can require architectural shingles, you can require different things. But specifically in the bill, it says it must not restrict manufactured housing.
Can HOA restricted?
HOA cannot restrict, HOA can't override state law. You can't override state law through an HOA.
This is the reason I asked you to get with Scott,
I did.
so we can get work on this.
An HOA cannot override state law.
But the zoning laws can require
That's what
things.
That's what they're changing.
No, I'm saying, I didn't finish my statement. They cannot particularly require it for module or mobile and not required for site-built homes. So it could potentially be more taxing if you create aesthetic plans where their site-built homes will now have to comply. So it's not that there cannot be, but they cannot be, singled out and said, well, they have to look like this, unless that whole community is like, everyone has to look, whatever aesthetic situation, it has to apply to everyone. And it's not, but anywhere, just anywhere there's a single family.
Correct.
It allows it.
So it's
Any
not like you
property.
can just put it up in a commercial zone or something like that.
So they can't.
Cannot.
Oh, okay.
So the RSF,
Wherever a single family.
Single family.
so the will not be no more RSF MH, it's always RSF.
But I mean, if you look at, if you look at Taylor County as a whole, I mean, we still have zoning laws. It just took me over a year to get a permit. And I know this is not in the city limits, but it just took me a year to get a permit for a gentleman because he has 161 feet of road frontage instead of 180. Make that make sense. I only own 161 feet on this road. And because of that, I can't have a house on my property because I don't have 180, because this mixed use, rural residential, blah, 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 LDR in this area, you are required to have 180 feet of road frontage to get a permit to put a house here. Now, we have some stuff in Taylor County that, guys, Popeye's Chicken just shut down. CVS is shut down. The mill shut down. I'm spending a lot of money in this town. I've got almost $1 million project going on right now, putting in a subdivision. I bought the property. I've spent all the money to clear it. I've got a grubber in there right now, doing all the clearing, doing all this stuff to get this done. I put out the spec house on Bacon Street that's up in the air right now that I was told last week I needed a plan to remove it. I've got one on Sarah Street that we're doing. I just did one here on Ash Street. I did one on Green Street that's a spec house. I did one in, I bought the subdivision in Steinhatchee to put 7 houses down there. I'm doing what I can to help stimulate the economy. And it's like, hey, pump the brakes. What are we gonna do? You need to move this house.
The problem is because we don't know
We didn't know anything about it.
what. I know that.
Well, I can't speak for you.
Yeah.
The zoning, was any of this done in front of the zoning board? Cause see, the zoning board didn't even know anything about this when I called one of the individuals and asked them about it. Cause usually when we're doing things like this, it's the zoning board presents it to us and we go from there
But what is there to go,
with the land.
but the land was zoned for modular or,
Now it is, at first it was not.
it's always been, when I looked it up, when I bought it, it was zoned for modular or site build. I didn't, because I'm not gonna buy it if I can't put I don't do site build, which I'm a licensed contractor to do either or.
This was signed back in, was it March of last year?
What?
399, when was this?
When was it signed?
Y'all talking about 2 different things, though. That's on an allowed modular homes way before.
Yeah, that property's been zoned for modular home forever. Yeah, that's all I said, one, it's not manufactured, it's on Bacon Street.
That's where that maze came, it was manufactured.
Listen. We have turned away so many
People.
families.
For mobile homes.
Hers was a modular home, and then we had this big thing, well, one got put out in Plantation. And they wanted that guy to remove his, he ended up having to get a lawyer in order for him to stay there.
Then guys, listen, honestly, this is very easy. You guys are the city council. It's you guys' ordinance. I know it.
Listen,
If the property is zoned for a modular home, there's nothing to argue about.
so I wanted you to come before us today. So that everyone will be aware. I want to know about this. And
That is.
right. I think that manager, zoning board and whoever else is involved in this. Scott Frederick, we have work to do. But
If the states come down, if the state has come down with an opinion or whatever, we can't cross that.
But we scared things to change.
Listen, do you know how many people come into my office and try to put houses in the city limits? Do you know, I've got one sitting here right now that would put a house in the city limits today and add to the tax base that we're fixing to be losing through the raising of the homestead exemption. But they can't because the property doesn't allow for mobile homes and he can't afford the additional cost that it costs to put a modular.
But that is a city ordinance that you're talking about.
That's a city ordinance that requires us to have modular on a specific property.
If the state has come in with.
That's something, I don't know the difference. I don't know, that's gonna be something that has to be.
But you just said that they came in with a law that said.
The law, that's what the law says.
Allowed to put either or.
Either or.
No, that's
It
not.
becomes in effect in January first, 2027.
Yeah, I know it's not till 27, but it still, circumvents what we got. Right?
That's
Well,
what
I think there's
Jay-
going to need to be, you gotta research that a little more and make sure that there may be areas that do still require a modular.
Councilmember Landry, I could speak to that. The Florida League of Cities as well as the Florida Municipal Attorneys Association both lobbied against this bill because it takes a huge, arguably it takes away home rule.
Yes.
So, I mean, and because of those conflicts or the idea of after hurricanes, especially demolish a community, housing becomes even more problematic and hard. So the state has done this purposely to take it out of the hands of the zoning, but we will need to comply and amend and be consistent unless some lawsuits win by January first. But, I mean, that's what's happening in all the communities that this will be touching. They're gonna have to comply. And I guess what you were sharing is some cities have already started moving towards changing it and not waiting until the state law takes effect January first.
This brother looking at, I'll see what it is.
Anyway, John, can you get somebody from North Central Florida Regional Planning Council to come up here?
I'll reach out to him already.
Maybe go up, come up here.
Don't answer emails for a week or two normally.
Can you go and tell me 3% to us, it's on board?
Yes.
Update us, maybe we can have a joint meeting on, we'll just get updated on what's going on exactly, so we can start moving the direction we need to move.
That's the only thing, we're in the dark, we're not knowing anything.
They're gonna update all the rules for us.
I mean, and I agree with that. I feel like there should have been a lot more clarification sent out on this House bill because they basically passed it and then that was it.
And I understand what it is that you're doing, and I know you got a business and you gotta do what you have to do to survive. But our only problem came is that we get a house that's put over in the community, and then we got people calling us and that, what's going on? Why is this here? And we don't know
Hey, them
anything
same ones
about it.
that call y'all, they showed up at my office. Trust me.
Because it's steps that since being here in 2013, that we've always followed. They go to the zoning board, it gets presented to us and we go there. But I guess now that has changed and we just didn't know anything about it, so.
So on the MH1 zoning, modular or site build is approvable in any of those areas. And it will look, they can look identical to a mobile home. And they just have the stickers that I put pictures of in there for you guys. Approved by the DDPR, built to Florida Building Code instead of HUD. So that's your difference.
John, that land that modular home is sitting on now, was that the city property or was that in our little grant? The land that we have deeded out? Or did you personally buy the land from someone else?
I bought the land.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought the land from somebody else. I bought one behind it. I bought 2 lots over. So if we don't, there's fixing to be 2 more over there. So
He's paying for everything.
No, it's not that, it's just that.
Did you go before the zoning board?
I mean,
You did not.
I know all I did. I did it just like any other house. I turned in the permits. I bought the property. I bought the house. I turned in for permitting. Permitting gave me a permit. I put a house up.
You didn't have to go in first zoning board?
It was something for that.
It didn't have to, modular.
It was zoning, this is a change, this is not as if the zoning board has not been following the law. This is a new act that will come into.
See, hope y'all don't understand.
Maybe
I'm
maybe not you,
gonna
but-
go ahead and put it out there. It's not you, John. It's the years of me being in this seat and underhand things have been being done. You see what I'm saying? That is where the problem is coming in at. You got one group that we're being told, gotta cut it from. Y'all gotta show proof. Y'all gotta go to the zoning board. And you have another group, so we can just do what we wanna do. We just go on and put whatever we wanna put anyway. You see what I'm saying? We are up here for the people. We're not up here for ourselves. So we have to speak and say what these people are saying is wrong. We have people that are calling us that modular homes, trailer, however you wanna put it, you're putting them right in their backyard and they pissed off and they mad about it because no one is telling them anything. And when someone called me, I hate to be in the dark and not know what is going on. Nothing has been put in the packet. We didn't know anything until today.
My only clarification, and maybe it's not necessary, is that. And now that you've noted what you shared, is that if someone has been denied placing that modular home in a zone because it's not zoned for it, that's been a correct action. The state has said, we're not gonna leave it up to you guys to decide, maybe because of that, uneven treatment, and starting January 1st, unless you guys change the ordinance this month or next month, it will not any longer be up to the zoning board to say where those modular homes are. And I just want to also note, as you noted, it's not just any modular home, it has to still pass the wind zone 2 or 3. It's not, and one of the things that we're probably gonna need to do is help educate people, because you hear this and you think, I can just put a mobile home up. It's not that simple. It has to follow the same standards as on-site building houses.
You mean as far as setbacks or what?
Right, or just, I mean, it's not, you know, what I mean, you hear modular homes or mobile homes and manufactured homes, for some people that may go, okay, so we can put it here, but it still has really pretty high standards regarding what type of homes are considered to be compliant with the statute.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not sure, John, and maybe Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the difference here that we're missing is that people have wanted to put mobile homes in these zoned areas that only allow modular. And that's what he's trying to say, is there's a difference a big difference in cost and in structure, how they're built. And I think what your people are complaining about is they weren't being able to allow to put a mobile home there. And he has purchased it and got permit to put a modular home.
But it's a mobile home.
It looks like a mobile home, but I
No,
don't think
it's
it
a
is.
mobile home because it's not on a permanent foundation.
No, it's.
It's sitting on cinder blocks.
That
That
doesn't
is
make-
not. Yes.
Do you want to
That's
speak, I
not
mean,
different.
you go up and inspection act, please.
My name is Andre Green, 129 South Beverly Street, and Benita is my council member. So the land that's in question at Momo 98, the structure that was put there, that is a mobile home. There is a difference between a mobile home and a manufactured home. A modular home is built inside of a warehouse. And when they put it on the foundation, they bring it out in sleeves and they place it, and it's permanent, it's sitting there. A mobile home that is on 98 or manufactured, because there is a difference between the terms. That is a mobile home because it sits on cinder blocks and it's not a permanent foundation and it's on a chassis. So that's the difference between the two. Modular, permanent, and also mobile homes depreciate over time. Modular homes appreciate. Mobile homes are made based on the code of HUD, and modular homes are seen as a house. So that is the difference. The house on 98 that's in question that was thrown up is a mobile home. It is not a modular home. And that's all I got to say.
And if you look in your packet, you will see the certification for the house on 98 from the pictures that it is a certified modular home, right there. There is your certifications for that house. It's all in the packets.
But is it?
It is on, and there's actually a paper in there, you can have two different types of modular homes. You can have a on or off frame.
On or off what?
On or off frame.
Right. What's the difference?
One has a chassis still remaining under it, one you actually remove the chassis from it. Depends on the installation. You have a brochure in there about that as well.
Very similar, I think, when you move a house,
Correct.
you put a metal frame under it.
Any house that you have, if anybody's, any person that's older in this room can remember, at one point, Highway 90 went through an expansion, and all the houses that were on, I mean, big giant 3-story houses, they put frames, they put steel rails on it, lifted those up, and they moved them back 60, 80 feet, and they made Highway 90 going east and west a 6-lane highway, but from a 2-lane. You can move any house. Having a chassis under it or not, or the foundation is engineered by an engineer. It's built to exactly what the engineer said to build it to.
Understand you want to speak?
I'm sorry,
Come on.
I understand Metro 1218 North Park Beach Street. I think the biggest concern for a lot of people as well is there's a full development that is happening in front of the Dollar General, and many people in the community were questioning, what are they building over there? You know, because we have so many unused buildings, unfortunately. I'm quite sure many people in that community was not aware that mobile homes are gonna be placed next to their homes on that land. Because we thought it was, I've always assumed it was commercial use, just me personally, I thought it was commercial use, I don't know what it's on for. But when you start changing I'm not saying the look, because once again, my mom has a mobile home, my sister has a mobile home, that's not a concern here. But when you start to overdevelop with it, that's gonna be where the community, I think now would be, you all need to start making decisions now with regards to, I'm not saying aesthetics, but the understanding that I've researched, modular versus mobile, they are different. One is based on a chassis, so it can actually be moved. Modular homes has to be built on foundation. That is a major difference. Even in that house build, it's still a major difference when you actually research. And it tells you, you can't base a home, but, aesthetics. That's not it. There has to be other guidelines. I'm just saying, as a board, you all may want to really consider, because if an entire development is going in, no one has been aware, no one in the community, and, someone is having to pass by an entire, how many acres, there's many acres of land over there that's being developed, and no one had a conversation about where are the site plans, where are the road plans, what is the eaves, and what is the dedicated to the city, because all of that has to go in before you actually put a home in and you put a road in, because all of that it plays a major role in the water lines, drainage, sewage, all of that makes a difference as for homes that are already developed in that area. And for no one to have to come up and say what we're actually gonna do with that land, with so much land, I think that's a conversation that really needs to be brought before the board. And I think that, plans need to be purchased or presented to say, okay, do we agree with this? And, and at the city level to say, who is the person is in the director's place to approve those site plans before someone actually goes in and just start developing those plans in that manner. And that's just my thoughts on that.
Is it city limits, right?
Partially.
Yeah, it's right there where the Dollar General is.
I was, it's city limits right around that.
It's
Yeah,
half and half.
So, board's responsibility. It didn't come before us, well, I just told myself, I'm a planning board member, but it wasn't like the new homes they're building behind the Chevrolet place. They had an entire site plan. There's no site plan for the new homes. That concerns me.
Did that have anything?
I haven't seen anything. We haven't seen
He hadn't
anything.
done anything yet except clear the land.
But his goal was to actually put the homes there, but if it hasn't been brought, I would have, as a city member, someone would bring that, thank you for your hard work. But the realization is, you don't clear land unless you have a proposal and unless you have been approved to actually put a home there before you start clearing land and saying, I'm gonna put homes here. And I have not had a conversation with the city, waterworks, road department, got a site plan that I can actually present. I don't know any other city or community that you can go in and just put homes and not have a conversation of, how much road is gonna be direct, given to the city right away, and how much, how far back these homes have to be. I'm just saying, in real construction, that is what happens. So we have not seen any plans, and this is the first I'm hearing that mobile homes or modular homes or manufactured homes are actually gonna be built. And I've never seen where someone could just take land without actually coming and saying, are these actual plans approved? So that's my concern. And I would think that would be a conversation that, before it's done, you have residents in that area who's been there for a very long time. They would probably want to know, but many of them aren't even aware of what's happening in that area.
That's true. I'm just glad to hear tonight what's going on, because I'm concerned.
Yes, I think that's a, you know,
So there's no permits at all, any of it, it's just being clear, is that what I'm just asking.
When she's done,
Oh, okay,
I'll
well, you
address
can-
it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Well, first thing, there's a process to every project.
Sure.
First thing I did was look and see what the property's zoned for, and if you look at your zoning on that property before I bought it, I think it's one house per half acre on part of it. I think it might have been one house per quarter acre. Anyway, so the zoning on that property allows for a lot of houses. The first step is to buy the property. Second step, which requires no permit, right? I don't have to have a permit to buy it.
No,
Right, I don't have to have a permit to clear it. And now we're grubbing it. All I'm doing is getting it down to the dirt so that I can get a civil engineer in there to design what we're gonna do. Once I get plans, because coming to a board and saying anything and doing anything, I need to figure out what we can do with the property before I can present it to anybody. Once I get that step done, that's when we present what we're gonna do. So until I get plans for anything, and we're just sitting here talking about subdivision that
Are
is
you,
theoretical at this point.
you're subdividing it?
Yes,
Yeah, that's the whole process, so I have to go.
I mean, I have to go through a whole entire process that has nothing to do with talking to neighbors or anybody. I mean, there's no sense in talking to anybody at this point until I have a plan. On paper with a civil engineer that's, you know, got retention ponds drawn, roads drawn in, how we're gonna pave, what we're gonna do.
I haven't looked at the county subdivision, is it similar to ours?
Yes,
So. Answer most questions about what's going on, or?
Yes, but now just knows what we need to do.
Who else had a question?
Come on forward, please. We're trying to record this for the minutes, so in particular, watching this, they can.
I'm Regina Edwards, and I have that one question to you. Why clear the land first then?
why?
Why not have a plan first?
Because I'd like to have the land cleared so we can just have it cleared.
But then if you have a plan, you know what you're doing when you clear the land to do go forward, right? So why should we?
Just the way I do, I always clear the land.
Okay. But in a smaller city like Perry, wouldn't it be more convenient or more communal for the community to say, hey, I'm here, these are my plans, I haven't made any complete plans yet, but this is what I would like to do, and I'm just introducing myself.
I'm in Perry every day.
No, I mean to the zone committee, the city council.
If you want to know the actual truth, I sat in this table right here with several of the people from the city. And water and all these areas, that's how I knew there was already water down there. I actually came in here and asked those questions to see what was available, what was the zoning and things like that before I actually did that
But did you
about a year
introduce
ago.
yourself? Did you introduce yourself and your thoughts on what you might do?
Yeah, even went to the building department, talked to them.
Here, at the city council.
No, not the city council.
Right, at the city council and the zone committee. She didn't do that there.
It's my property.
I understand that it's not that.
I'm sorry, yes, since you started addressing.
I'm sorry. The reason I asked him first, because I can't address y'all first, I don't know. The reason I asked is because it would, in my, and I don't know if you can make that a guideline, but before somebody starts just cutting a whole lot of property, I mean, I understand for a single home. But for development, it would be meaningful, and it should be in the guideline that in some type of code or something, regulation, that you have to come and introduce yourself and your concerns and what your plans are. Even if you don't have paper, 20 sheets of paper, my intent, that gives you the options of knowing what's going on here in the city and who's doing it. But when somebody just does something like this, you don't know, and you proved it, you don't know.
That's true. I
You
mean,
don't.
that if you put up a sign and say, hey, it's your home, or what,
Right, something, and it should be in the guidelines that should be.
I've been sitting here worried
Yeah.
because, in fact, I had somebody ask me, it's gonna be solar farms. You know,
With all the scare right now in Perry, that is just something, I don't mean any disrespect to either you or you, but that is some major concern. And it is very scary for people who live here, very.
Thank you.
Any question?
I don't think much both, certainly, but, Mr. Brian's telling my family in the city meant a lot of work. Who's paying for the sewer, the lift stations, and road paving?
Me.
Your side, you are,
Me,
okay.
I don't need nobody to say nothing for me.
All right, that's what I want to know. I just want to make sure that the city taxpayers wouldn't put in a debt and pay it on underground utility. I know construction on heavy industrial corporation. And I know that you can't pass your problems on to somebody else, taxpayers. And that's what most of these people are wanting. You know, and it seems like you got your wagon ahead of you. But because nobody up here knows what's going on. And I hope your project works. I mean, I do. I'm not against that because it can bring tax revenue. I'm just wondering if it's going to cost the city taxpayers.
The development as far as I know, it's not supposed to cost the taxpayer anything. That got changed in the eighties, not mistaken.
But yeah, but you know, Councilman Ford, Ketchum, leisure retreats, they're down there with trailers and what, several hundred acres. They're hollering pave the roads. Well, we're talking $1 million a mile to pave the road. There's no way the county can pave roads.
Well, I think it's why.
But I'm not against what they're just doing.
There's a neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken, there was a neighborhood that went in. Came out leisure retreats, did they just pushed the trees down and started selling lots, and then, like you said, they started saying, hey, pave the roads. That's not what changed. They said, now anybody else is gonna develop anything, you're gonna pay, you're paying it. That's gonna, just go back on the price of the lots. You're just gonna wind up having with it, but at least it'll be done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against this project. It brings tax revenue when he sells the houses.
Sure.
I listen to people behind me and I'm just answering what you guys are wondering, and so that's all I got to say.
Okay. Thanks,
Good
sir.
luck with your project. Yes, sir.
Now, I can tell you, I mean, and just to clarify, this is not our first rodeo. We've got 8 or 9 of these subdivisions already done. There's 4 in Suwannee County. There's a 250 house development in Lake City. There's 200 house development under construction right now in Lake City. I'm not asking anybody to pay for anything. If you've got sewer in front of the property, we'll make a tap and we'll take care of everything from there. We don't need anybody to run. That's not what we need. So it's my property, it's our property. We're going to do with it what we're going to do. So. Okay. When the time comes to present it to everybody as to what the plan will be, everybody will be presented with plans. It's in the city and the county.
Sure, she got big 2 cents.
So it's got to do 2 different things.
Right.
So, and I've actually had conversation with the boards or the folks that met me in here that day. And they actually discussed either annexing everything into the city completely or out of the city completely. And there was a whole annexing discussion. So either or. That way it's all governed either all by the city or all by the county, and there was no split down there. So they were gonna figure out what would be best that way. So there has been discussion on this for about a year. But besides that.
Anybody have any other questions?
There was quite a lot. I just want John to. Everything to do. The employment house. And we really need to put it in. Or I'm sure. So put it on this paper. But everyone needs to know what they can and can't do from this point out. This was mobile and modular homes.
I want to clarify something real quick.
And attached homes.
I'm here modular homes, I'm here mobile homes. Down here, manufactured homes, that manufactured home cover.
No, a manufactured home, manufactured and a mobile home are the same.
They split.
They're both a manufacturer and a modular, so they're both manufactured,
I understand.
right? In a facility that's enclosed, right? And then they bring both of them to you, so, but a mobile home and a modular home, they're both completely different.
I understand that. Where's manufactured?
So that in the mobile home world, that's a
It was a terminology.
fluffy word for a mobile home.
1976, they went from mobile home to manufactured home.
A lot of people still call them trailers. If you go to places, they'll tell you, hey, we haul cows and horses in trailers. These are mobile homes, these are houses.
I want to clarify. 'Cause
It's a fancy word.
I hear manufactured being tossed around too. I was making sure we were talking about the same thing.
Manufactured housing it can be a mobile home, it can be a modular. They're both manufactured in a controlled environment.
Very good. Yeah, Scott, I mean, like, you talk to Scott, please, just have somebody come up here to update us.
Yeah.
We got so many things changing. Sorry to digest it all, it's kind of. We could use an update. Yeah, so, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, before we go to the next agenda item, we'll call a 5-minute break.
I know where they are. This is the mama they do right across the road. I'm sorry. That's a modular. That one that's in our hill now is.
I just.
That's what I'm trying to, that's what's on the agenda, that's what I'm trying to tell my say. I didn't get it. I was talking about the information. I don't know what we're gonna talk about. That's why I was understanding your people, because I'm like, you can't make it actually not, this is not anything. That's how we're here to talk about the law allowing for modular homes. I actually understand. Oh, no, like that. Yeah, but at the same time, we're talking about this, and when it's said, the subject matter we're talking about.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Meeting's back in order. Everybody please have a seat.
All right, we're gonna call the meeting back to order. And we're gonna go into agenda item. So I find at 6G, council to discuss light cameras and council to take any action deemed necessary. All right. Anybody know what Hartman? Anyway, who would like to speak on? Who wants to go first?
Good evening. My name is Brian Slaughter. I live at 308 Judson Drive. I want to thank you guys all for the time tonight and allowing us to speak to you guys about the flat cameras. Got a few brief points that I want to bring up, talk about the flat cameras, and I'll let you guys have the rest of the time. So, Los Angeles is one of the first cities that comes to mind, one of the biggest cities in the United States. They have already terminated their agreement with FLOT, mainly because they thought that it was a civil rights and liberties issue, and the data that was being used was used against its civilians incorrectly. Another city that I want to talk about is Dayton, Ohio. They canceled their FLOT contract, but once they did that, the FLOT cameras are still in place, and they have been unable to get the FLOT cameras out of there, which, I don't know which way you guys are gonna vote tonight, but if you do vote no against them, I want to make sure that the FLOT cameras are removed, completely gone, and there's no more mass surveillance on us citizens. Another city, Albany, Georgia, just up the road from us, had to fire 5 officers recently due to the fact that they were misusing the cameras. Milwaukee had to fire an officer just recently for stalking his ex-girlfriend, his current girlfriend, and his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend. They had to fire him because he was misusing the cameras. Who's to say that that's not going to happen here? Houston, Texas recently put out a report saying that the FLOT cameras have little impact to any on crime rate inside that city. They've got thousands of FLOT cameras, haven't been able to prove any crime stopping ability. Excuse me, the crime rate has not gone down because of that. With the FLOT cameras, many other agencies are able to tap into the cameras that are secure. For example, Mountain Valley, California, the Air Force, the ATF, and the Inspector General were accessing the cameras without consent. And how do we know that this is not going to happen here? How can we guarantee that? Illinois Secretary of State claims that Border Patrol was hacking into their cameras and accessing all the data. Again, how can we guarantee that's not going to happen? What this does is just creates so many opportunities for misuse, for people that do not want to be watched, people that do not want to be stalked, to get stalked by law enforcement inside our city. Perry has suffered significant job loss. Many people have already talked about that up here today due to the mill closing. And then to top that off, we've got hit by several hurricanes, and unfortunately, it's caused people to be in bad financial situations. I think the last thing that we need is more tax dollars allocated to surveilling us as citizens. the end game for Flock is not to just sell us these license plate readers, it's to get every camera that they have in their arsenal inside our city, sell us more cameras and make more money. They're a private company, can't fault them for trying to make more money. But the last thing that we need is the cameras that recognize your face. You say something that the cameras don't like, or whomever gets a hold of that data, and now you're targeted for absolutely no reason. So, Flock wants to also take your data and sell it to big companies, Walmart, Microsoft, Google, Meta, you name it. They want to sell it. They're a private company, again, trying to make money for themselves. A note on the founder of Flock, he came out on a podcast recently and said that anyone that opposes Flock is a terrorist and should be labeled with Antifa. I think it's pretty crazy to say. Many others that I've talked to in the city have requested several times for the trial agreement between Flock and the city of Perry. We've been unable to obtain that agreement. I think it's crazy for someone to tell me that there's no agreement, no way that these cameras just get put out without any kind of oversight, without any kind of agreement, or any kind of terms and conditions. I just have a tough time believing that. As citizens, we deserve to know what those terms and conditions are, especially if we're going to be bearing the taxes on this. I also don't really like the fact that these just showed up in our city. The council wasn't made aware of it. None of us inside the city of Perry were made aware of it. These cameras were just here and we just had to live with it. I think that's completely unfair. I ask that you guys all please consider the things that I've talked about this evening, and I ask that you please vote no. As one of the founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, said, those who would give up a central liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Thank you.
Who'd like to speak next? Thank you for your comments.
Yes, sir.
My name's Renee White, I live at 812 North District 21. I would like to second everything said, but I also have a very personal reason for being here tonight, because years ago I was a stalking victim. And reading the instances over and over and over again of how these Flock cameras have been misused to target women made it very personal for me. The idea that not only the people who are allowed access to Flock, but anyone who can hack into Flock, hacked into multiple times, could stalk me or another vulnerable woman is absolutely terrifying. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. It might not have happened here yet, but why would we allow it? Why would we allow a chance at this happening? We need to protect women and we need to ban Flock cameras in Perry Farm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who'd like your names? Yes, sir.
My name's Cliff White, I live at 1812 North US 241 Highway. I have a background in computer science, which means I know computers quite well. In fact, I have 2 bachelors in it. These cameras are easily hackable. You can pull up next to one, connect to its Wi-Fi, and hack it. And then you have its IP address, as well as all the IP addresses of the ones that are connected to it, which means you get the whole grid. And that's not just for Perry, but it could be across the United States. It is very easily hackable. You can find it online in very obvious places like YouTube. So anybody can do this. I second, first man said, third it now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello again.
Hey, good afternoon again. Carl Padgett, 413 Worley Way. I don't think we're arguing if the technology is good or bad. I think the argument is, and I think everybody would agree with me, it's the human element behind the technology. Facebook is not bad unless you stalk people, right? None of these things, a gun is not bad unless a person pulls the trigger with a bad heart. We can't control the people using this technology. We can't dictate where the data goes and who it gets sold to. We do not like being surveilled, coming and going in a free country. And he mentioned Ben Franklin. I don't think our founders would like our freedom to be surveilled all day, every day, to run to Ace Hardware and to run up here to pay our utility bills. There's no reason law enforcement needs to know my whereabouts at all times. What I would suggest, and I know this is not an argument yes or no for Flock cameras, I believe it's a budget item. We've sat up here all night and have talked about it for many years, budget crisis in the city. there are no jobs coming in. Big Top's doing everything we can to grow. Namo's got a big project coming in, they're trying to grow, but it's stagnant and the money's going out quicker than it's coming in. I talked to John at length with this, we're in a disagreement, but we're still friends. I talked to Jamie about it. What they had told me was it's $3,000 per camera. There's 12 now or 15, and they're wanting to go up to 36. So you do that math every year, pulling off the city's funds, when we already pay for law enforcement in the city. We already pay for great people like Brother Ray back there. We already pay for dedicated public safety people. So what I'm asking is, with the budget and money in question, are we going to cut a couple of jobs to fund this? Because we're already as taxpayers funding a law enforcement. And they're really good at their jobs and we trust them here in the city. So why would we pay from taxpayer funds to be more surveilled than we should be? And that's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was toying with you. I was 100% toying around with you. I was playing devil's advocate with you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Good evening.
Hey.
Trey Blue, 1968 Pavner Lane. I had some notes that have basically already been covered. I won't reiterate those. Just would like to point out that Flock as a company has proven themselves to be an untrustworthy partner. So nationally, there are multiple jurisdictions that have found that their data that's collected within their jurisdiction has been accessed by agencies outside of their jurisdiction that they have no law enforcement agreements with. Somebody mentioned Dayton, Ohio as one, where they found thousands of searches that were done without their knowledge, within their jurisdiction by law enforcement agencies that they have no cooperative agreements with. In addition to that, the deliberate misuse, there also has been recently, the last year in Georgia, just the last calendar year since January 1, at least 20 Georgia law enforcement officers have been fired, arrested, or disciplined for misuse of these systems. That includes in DeKalb, a sergeant, 17 years on the force, was found to be misusing these systems. I think they give too much power. I'm sure not everybody in that list is what people would call a bad cop, but it's essentially too much power to delegate without appropriate oversight to any individual. On security, which was kind of hit on, there have been cybersecurity researchers that have published open findings that these systems have been found to be just streaming, in some cases live to the internet with no authentication required. Anybody could access those streams. Senator Ron Wyden's office found that a lot of the safety filters that Flock has promised communities are in place could actually be very easily defeated and bypassed by somebody with, a minimum amount of IT knowledge. So again, just in multiple ways, I feel like Flock has demonstrated themselves to be untrustworthy. Aside from all of the disagreements I have in principle on constitutional grounds for this type of surveillance, I don't think Flock is a trustworthy partner for the city of Perry. So I would encourage us to terminate any consideration of future business with that company. Thank you. Thank you.
His name for the record, please, sir.
I gotta look some, so do we have 15 Flock cameras, something like that?
13, I think.
13, looking at 30, is it 36?
I have not heard that.
All right, so I'm looking at 13.
They might be with the entire county, maybe, I don't know, but just the city is only.
They're like 24 county and city, I think, it's not, but
What a total.
that you can't trust it. I looked at Los Angeles, they have 3.8 million people. And their police department has Flock cameras. They have 138. That's one per every 27,500 people. We have 7,300 people. 13, one per every about 550. Are we more dangerous than LA? is this a hard place to live? We need that much surveillance. You know, how long is the data stored? See my note?
Say 30 days.
They're telling us 30 days, but,
Where at?
they
Imagine,
said they're rent server space.
In the
About it, yeah.
so what happens when it rains? Where's that data go? The other question I have is, why are we storing these people's data? If you drive by one of those cameras and your tag's good, why do I need to know 30 days from now?
Yeah.
Why can't it just delete right now? I don't understand that. Now, if it's truly some predator you're looking for, great, alarm somebody. But why do you need Bill's information? Where are you going, Bill? What are you doing? Why do I need to know that? I don't. Okay, so it's stored in the cloud. And my other question was, why is it stored there? We don't know. Who can search it?
I'm not for the things. I don't like people to say that.
But you're the manager, so I gotta look at you. And so who can search it?
Who has the
No,
capability?
who can look at this data?
I think it's anybody that has a flock camera that's signed up on the system.
And then
Okay, do they have a warrant to look at this, or is this just an open book? So is it fine for me just walking your house and look around at your stuff? Come on now, I know you like it.
They can look, they can't do anything with it until they want.
Okay, but that, okay, so it can't be, is it impervious from being hacked?
Nothing.
Okay, Citibank sent me a thing the other day, said they were hacked, to change the password. Anybody get it? All right. So, a lot of times people don't catch hackers. So what if I was some type of Ted Bundy person? And I hacked in, I wanted to know where you were at. And I just logged in, didn't let anybody know. And I found you and I thought, man, you know what? When she drives every year on Tuesday, me and her could be really good friends. What do you think?
I had the same talk with my daughter the other day.
Really good friends. Anyway, my other question is, I looked through, Florida is a pretty unique state. Florida will determine what kind of window you can put in your house, what kind of door you can put in your house. It makes product critical. Guess what? FDOT does too. And their book on putting up signs is a little bit bigger than the Bible. Y'all read it? Just a little bigger. Okay, they have a product approval list for anything to be installed in a DOT approved right away. I couldn't find the flock cameras in there. I did find the application that leads you to another section, which is about 600 pages. This one's 5 pages, took 10 writers to tell you how to turn your camera in if you want to be in the camera business. You can build your own camera, carry it to them, have a third party inspect it. It meets all the specs. And then it's approved to be installed after you have an engineer to determine what the safe zone is on that road. If you're in your neighborhood in front of your house, safe zone maybe 6 feet, 19, maybe 26 feet. Because you have to have a certain amount of distance to run off the road and wreck without hitting something. Okay. Everything in DOT right of way has a reflector, or it is a reflector. Everything. Even that little green phone box down there at the end of the road. The ones I looked at appear to be camouflaged. I don't see reflectors.
No cameras.
I don't see any flock cameras. I don't see anything on them that makes them reflective. How am I to see them if I'm running off the road? What if I'm texting while I'm driving and I drop my phone and I'm looking around for it and I don't see that camera on the road and I hit it? Now, I looked them up, their insurance, they have automobile insurance. And it's $1 million per event, 20 million aggregate. Don't take long to run out of that money. Guess who else gets it? My attorney's gonna sue you too. Y'all gonna be listed. And once that 2 million's gone, then it's gonna be on the city. Somebody here signed for it to be here. So which one of y'all want to take it?
Not I.
Well, if the thing is not, if it's not on the FDOT's approved equipment list for right away, not saying it's not, I'm just saying I've been looking, I can't find it. I cannot find it on their approved equipment, so I think that's something we need to find. We need to make sure that they're installed. Now, I guess everybody here is familiar with roads. And you've seen the road being redone several times, all of you have. And there's usually some guy in really nice pants that goes through and measures stuff and makes sure everything's great. One in the county, his name's Ken. But somebody has to do that and sign off on any of these devices put on the side of the road. That it is installed properly, that it is frangible. When you hit a stop sign, I don't know if you've ever heard hit one, but let's say you run over a stop sign. It's designed to fold up. It's not designed to break off and come to the bottom of your car and kill you. So if this is a safety device, let's make sure it's safe. Be kind of like an airbag with nails in the front of it. May not be as much fun when it goes off. Okay. Just block paper rent.
I think we'll pay them rent.
There's dirt, is the camera mounted on them?
Or we don't pay them rent yet, but I mean, I think that is.
Right, whose dirt, I just want to know, whose dirt is the county is mounted on? Okay, so that's this rule. Is that you guys? All of you? Okay, so we're paying rent to them to use our land? What kind of rental agreement is that? You want to get rich quick on that one?
Paying rent to them to use their cameras.
But the thing is, why are they not paying rent to us to put it on our land?
Maybe they're reducing our rent.
What is it?
Maybe they reduce our rent.
I don't know, did they reduce the rent on it? What I'm saying is, why are they not, they're getting prime real estate, they're on premium at intersections. You know what I'm saying, why not pay us rent? That's not reasonable, I think about opening up a business, you know, right there. Can I put a hot dog stand right here? I'll give you a copy of the receipts, anybody buys the fall dog, you can turn them in. Okay? Now, the Women's Club, a minute ago, there was no relief from them. I don't know the deal with it or whatever. But they're a nonprofit. And they didn't get anything from you.
They voted for it.
I'm saying,
They voted to.
got it? But they are a nonprofit. Why we got a for-profit business working on city land? I don't understand that.
They're providing us a service.
We're providing them a service. They're selling that data to everybody. They're selling it to your insurance company, they're selling it to Walmart, they're providing a service, they're getting a service. You're providing them quality land. I just don't understand, most of the time, somebody goes to use something of yours for a business purpose, they pay for it. Okay, now according to Shauna, homestead exemption, if passed, probably will, looks to affect somewhere around 37% of the pie chart. Do you really have money to spend on this? That's gonna be a decent hit, 37%, that's decent, 60% 37. Then we had 35, is $3,500 a count? Looking at 36. And now you're looking at, you know, the thing is, I don't know anybody that's not gonna pay for a homestead exemption. I haven't found one yet. So if it does pass, that's 37%. You know, if we want to spend that money, why not give our officers a raise? 37 cameras, you can't give them another $1,000 a year. I think my bills went up the last couple of years. What's wrong with that? We're hiring a robot to work for a private company to replace officers. I don't know, I don't understand. Anyway, I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you for your time.
I just put it to a vote.
Do you want to let speak?
My name's Erin Turner. I live at 5125 Turner Road. I'd like to start out by saying I think it's a shame that our police chief, Jamie Cruz, is not here in this meeting tonight, since he's the one who brought these block cameras into our city. And at the last meeting, the council members stated they had nothing, they didn't know anything about it.
They had a prearranged trip up, he can't get out of it, so.
What's that?
He had a trip, he planned my service.
That's fine. I just still think it's a shame. I just want to read a couple of headlines that I pulled from the internet today regarding block cameras. July 24th of 2026, the headline reads, Georgia cops keep getting arrested for misusing flock surveillance data. April 27th, police have reportedly used license plate readers to stalk romantic interests at least 28 times in recent years. October of 25. This is a USA statement. Flock Safety's alleged involvement in mass surveillance by federal agencies raises privacy concerns and due process concerns. June of 26, stalker cams inside the widespread abuse of Flock license plate readers. June of 26, Flock AI license plate readers. Police misuse cases emerge in June of 2026. July 26, AI audit tools flag suspicious searches as Flock misuse cases mount in Georgia. July 26, police keep losing their jobs for using Flock cameras to stalk people. June of 26, Flock AI security cameras spark concerns over privacy misuse among Gainesville residents. Another headline in July, tracking the Flock, a running record of reported license plate reader camera misuse. September of 25, police cameras tracked one driver 528 times in 4 months. July of 26, Flock Safety employees watched kids' gymnastics rooms to pitch surveillance technology to someone like the city of Perry. So they actively hacked into, which if I remember correctly, the Flock salesperson that gave the pitch last meeting said that they don't have access to those cameras, that only our police chief and his delegate would have access. But here we have Flock Safety accessing live feeds from those cameras inside children's gymnastics facilities. A question that I was going to have for the Flock Safety representative is he mentioned last meeting that if the Flock cameras are damaged in any way, they're fully warranted, Flock camera replaces it with no charge to the city. But we're starting to see reports and hear reports where there's so much damage to Flock cameras nationwide that they have reneged on that agreement and they're no longer paying for the replacements of those cameras when they are removed or damaged. So that's just some points that I wanted to bring across. And I know Earl had mentioned, you know, the statistics of like how many we are, how many cameras are. There are 4 cameras at the intersection of 19 and 98. There's one on every corner of 19 and 98. And Jamie mentioned last meeting that there are only 9 cameras in the city. And I know that there are cameras all throughout the county. So who was in charge of those? Who brought those in? Who agreed to have those placed in the county sections? I know, you know, Jamie brought the ones in for the city. So that's just a question that I have as well. I know that you guys are just cities, so we don't know, but it's a point I wanted to bring up.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
I had a problem with these block cameras from day one. Back in April. Still didn't know any the council. We were not conferred or consulted about it. I've been doing my own research. And I look back there, yeah, every time I leave my house and I drive, that's just 27, 98. And I feel like I'm being followed. I know that they're saying, and even because of this safety reason, that safety reason. But if we're going to do anything like this in the city, for period, it needs to come before the council. Oops. And my mind is already made up. I don't think you read for motion yet. My mind is made up.
When I ran for office, I promised to listen to my constituents and invoke my conscience. And I have listened, and I've heard good and I've heard bad. I can see good and bad using the cameras. But the thing that really bothered my conscience was the cost. And I can't see spending that amount of money. And we don't even really have it in the budget, it was the budget over $200. So I can't justify the cost.
From the beginning, I had a problem with this because one, it did not come before us and even giving us a demonstration on it or even talk with us, then discuss it with us. It was just a decision that one person decided to make and that was it. I've been in this seat since 2013. I made one decision that came back and it bit me because I didn't listen to the people. But this time I'm gonna listen to the people. One, we just received a letter from John about the budget. I don't see where we'll even be able to fit the funds in with this, and I'm all for it. You know, much as work that the law enforcement put in, I'm all for giving them as many raises as they can get. And I'm just not, I don't feel comfortable with this. There's no accountability. So my mind has been made up over months ago when it first got brought to me. So I see the pros and I do see the cons.
Mayor,
Very old.
point of reference before you make your motion, please.
We come up front, please.
Thank you all again. It's third time not, is that a record? One thing I want to really address really quick, and I'll get out of y'all's hair. We keep saying flop, 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 flop. That is a brand. There will be more brands, Axon, or Microsoft, Meta, they all have these cameras. So before you make your motion, whether to delete the line item from the budget or ban surveillance cameras in a whole, I'd like you to word it to a point that this can't be brought in by another company.
Yeah.
I've expressed my, opposition long time ago. When we first started, when we first heard about it. Yeah. What would happen if this went in? Say you got 10 of them. Something happens, they're gonna say, darn, if we'd have had a camera over there, we could have done it. Next thing you know, they're gonna want 10 more.
Yep.
And next thing, it'll be one at every buddy's house.
At least 4 knows, don't know what we're still talking about. I said, do away with it.
Make professional.
Before you do that, I know it's already been noted. I don't know if it's officially been noted, but, I just wanted to know if it wasn't clear that, Jamie Cruz did provide a memo, to attach And he's already noted these things in the meeting before as to why he supports the flock cameras. But I just wanted to note that he had a recommendation regarding the flock camera deployment. And if it was reviewed, which I know all of you have, and a part of your consideration, even if your decision is no, I just wanted to note it for the record so that that can be included in the minutes, since he's absent. That's all.
And you made some very good points in the letter.
He does.
Yeah, I guess what it boils down to me is, you know, there's some good points to these cameras. I'm not saying there isn't. If somebody in my family gets missing, I'm gonna wish there's 1,000 of them. But I'm not much into this over surveillance culture we have going on now. I spent some time with talking to an insurance executive today. On my own. Calling up, we spent about 30 minutes, give or take, on the phone. Insurance companies, I did not realize until he explained it to me, are probably the largest purchaser of data on the planet. Yes. They buy your oil changes. Every time you get your oil change in your car, there's a VIN number. They every time it goes to the shop they work on, every time it goes in the body shop, anytime anything happens with a car, they know about it. And not just cars, houses. Anything they insure. Everything's. Yes. Your life. And sooner or later, they're, you know, it's, I started listening to him for about 30 minutes and got me a little paranoid. They figured honestly, I looked into who owns Flock. It's actually a company called Flock Group. Flock Safety is owned by a company called Flock Group. It's a subsidiary, I guess you can call it, or whatever you can call it. That's something. Basically, it's owned by a bunch of investment companies. We signed a contract with Flock Safety Group today. Investment companies, as we all know, in 5 years are going to divest themselves of that company. I don't know who's gonna wind up on it. I have no idea, I really don't. Third thing just came to mind for me was Ms. Lander's point. I think they want a 3-year contract. In just a few months, we don't know what's gonna happen with Amendment 3. We don't know where finance is going to be. They're not any better now than we were last year. Amendment 3 passes, they're gonna be way worse. But really, how we gonna pay for it? So those are just the points I'm trying to make. I'm just saying they have good, they have some not so good, we just gotta figure out. I just feel like now's not the time, in my opinion, but. It's got a lot of beta testing, it's gotta get through. That's right, man.
Question for John, what about the parks? And surveillance at the parks to catch the people that are not being nice.
That's where all this started.
Yeah, those are license plate.
Those are not,
cameras.
They're not blocked,
I think they're the Flock brand, but they're not license plate readers.
right?
Yeah, they're not ALPRs. Automatic license plate readers, that what you call?
Automated license plate recognition.
Something like, yeah. You're right, Ray. That's a good question about the parks, how do we feel about surveilling the parks, and where this came up originally, just to give you some background on it, for those who didn't hear the stories. I didn't even know they existed, some, these things called TikTok challenges, Facebook challenges, people get on video, and they take cameras and start beating bathrooms to pieces, and I don't know why. Maybe if I was 15 again, I could explain it, but I'm not. So I don't understand why people take sledgehammers to the toilets, sinks, and public bathrooms. But apparently somebody in Los Angeles does it. They challenge the world to do it, for some reason, everybody follows suit. So we're spending an enormous amount of money rebuilding our bathrooms. Constantly, if I'm not mistaken.
Weekly.
I mean, it was constant, so. Had an idea of some cameras we could put up, this tonight. That's where the whole thing started. I don't know where automatic license. Late leaders came into it, the records they, AOP or anything. That's a good question. About the party cameras.
If this book, I think we should get.
Also, is that a form of a motion?
Well, I have one other thing I'd like to say. I just want to note that, I did not overlook Jamie's recommendation. I think with the cameras that the county has put up in various places, if we want to catch those people entering or even tell the county, flip-flop cameras will be able to pick it up. So. I just want to come that part. And I will make a motion. A motion that we end. Drop camera. Trial period. And that we remove our cameras. I don't know if I should have, wish I had a permanent ban. Yes.
Please, yeah. Please continue speaking to just live or all.
It's-
Any all cameras.
Any agency.
In the farms.
No.
It's something in the parks.
Law enforcement officers. Yes. Law enforcement officers. Yes.
Yes. Well, they can't.
A law enforcement officer.
They can't always be there. And the perpetrators, if they know the officer's there, they're not gonna do anything.
So somebody.
The officer that-
The officer there.
Interrupt as the vote starts.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
A motion, have a second, any more discussion? Anybody want to speak on, anybody want to say anything else? Saw your hands coming up.
I got one thing. My name's Earl Kettering. Anyway, the thing is, there's numerous camera companies. Anyway, there's numerous, I'm sorry, guys, but there's numerous camera companies, many of them use hard drives. There's all kinds of options for the parks. And I just walked in my house that covers my yard. And I can look at it from my phone, right here. So it's like I say, there's a lot of options that do not have to go to the cloud. We don't know where that cloud is. You know, my thought is, I would have been halfway reasonable with it if it was on our server. If it went from there to our server, that's one thing. But if it goes from here to somebody else's server, that's a different thing. And I have to ask them for the right to use it or look at it. Maybe we don't pay our subscription. You don't get, don't get to use your data. People have gotten pretty unique in the last few years on what they charge for. BMW will charge you a monthly subscription to have heated seats. So again, when this company gets bought out, what will change? What subscription we get? I'm just saying there's numerous camera options. We don't have to go with a cloud-based product. Maybe something with a server that uses our equipment. All right, thank you.
All right, we got a motion, we have a second. This, just to, Ms. Lee, second.
Yes.
Okay, that's for, ending the trial and moving the block cameras, correct? Oh, that last play, right? And the park cameras too. Okay.
One more question.
When you got a motion up.
It's like, what kind of question?
We're up to discussion, aren't we? Is it?
I thought I heard a motion and then a second,
It is.
and I didn't vote.
Usually have discussion after a second. Usually all discussions prior to the motion.
You're not supposed to stop the vote once it starts.
Yeah. Yeah, first, Robert.
We don't go by Robert.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. You got a motion, I have a second. Move, vote, please, ma'am.
Councilor Bronze?
Yep.
Councilor Hampton?
Yes.
Councilor Woodball?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landry?
Yes.
Mayor Kitchen?
Yes.
We wouldn't be able to handle Robert's rule.
I never thought about it.
Yeah, I would love it, but we can't.
I was gonna say I'm in no way, shape against law enforcement whatsoever, very much law enforcement.
Yeah.
Think you can look at our budget and see that. And we're gonna do everything we can to help in any way we can, but we also have to protect the citizens at the same time,
Yes.
so. All right. John, we'll go back to that grant overview.
Yeah, we can skip that forever.
Agenda item 6H, council to discuss proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2026, 2027. Council taking the action may necessary. Our proposed millage rate.
Proposed is the rollback rate that Sean was talking about, 6.1077.
Percent the roll rate rate. Sherry is already special to us.
The motion I present, no wait a second.
They're roll rate rate. 6.6.
Second.
Or.
Next. Thank you. Okay, motion. Just ask for lack of a second. Got more, I guess, maybe discussion to do. like
So
this.
just to clarify. The city manager's budget that he's presenting next has the 6.1077 factored in. We typically go with the rollback rate. Unless you increase taxes, but the rollback rate is not increasing. The rollback rate is essentially what you bring in, what you brought in last year. So the prior year millage rate, that is what we had last year, but we essentially bring in less. Because of the rollback rate is exactly the same. And that's what Shauna was.
Would have to be approved today.
It doesn't have to be approved today, I just need guidance on what y'all want me to advertise, in the newspaper. Please remember that we can't go down, but we cannot go up without re-advertising at our expense. So it would be my recommendation to do 6.1077 for right now. And then make further decisions later.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Close for discussion. Or did you already make?
She already made the motion. I just want to hear from Carter. You're the finance director. You know about money. Okay.
Sure, might also equal about it.
I just was waiting since she motioned, I wasn't sure if y'all were gonna go ahead and second.
All right.
Councilman Bronze?
Yep.
Councilor Hampton?
Yes.
Councilor Woodball?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Landry?
Yes.
Mayor Kitchen?
Yes. Agenda item 6I, pursuant to COP Charter Section 5502, city managers to officially present proposed budget for COP fiscal year 2026, 2027. Council will take any action deemed necessary.
I want to go over some of the proposals before we get into it. You don't have this sheet in front of you? Comparing rates between Perry, Live Oak, Williston, Madison, and Mayo. We took an average water usage of 5,000 gallons a month. Perry, lowest by far at 32.65. Live Oak at 48.99. Williston at 44.11. Madison at 37.79. And Mayo at 38.37. On sewer, it's even worse. The same 5,000 gallons of usage. Perry's at 37.70. Live Oak at $70.91. Madison at 63.63. And Mayo at 39.23. We told Florida Rural Water, when they did our rate study for water, that we'd go up 25% in 2024, 25%, in 23 and 24, and 10% in 2025, which we never did any of those. So we're falling, didn't want to increase rates, and it was during hurricanes and all the.
It was. Yes.
I remember the discussions. Is going. They'll give us grants, they'll give us low interest loans. They'll let John correct me if I'm Carly somebody, but we're not at a certain rate.
If you show your.
Jeopardize a lot of that.
Yes.
Basically, we can't borrow the next, basically, we can't get anything.
And showing the state agencies that we're not even trying to take care of our own
And
equipment.
why should we take care of you? Don't take care of yourself. That's conversation I remember.
Good suggestion.
Wastewater's fund so far behind, we requested 10% there and then 5% across the board for the other utilities.
It is, we want to go on the basis if we might be in a position where we're going to be in a lot worse shape if we don't.
And the budget that is presented to you all also includes these rates.
What's the total increase, Darren?
We got a lot of average deals here. Like,
There isn't a way to, because of the fact that everybody's is so different. You use different water than you do, so there was just really no way to do that. That's why we provided that sheet, and the packet to show the amount, yeah.
probably be like $6 or $7 for the average customer. About that.
Business I'm going to decide on that. So.
With the normal 3% cost of living raises for everybody, health insurance went up 7.5%. Police pension went up 6.7%, fire pension went up 5.3%. With our proposed increase of 5% plus the 10% for wastewater. Is that right?
I can't
Where-
see that far.
It is. The minimum thing. Then I got a back, I don't know what it's saying. Thanks for ordering. Anybody have a Mac?
Thing to do.
Right.
Go.
We're at $690 go into reserves.
If you are willing to give us more options. Because we really might be able to. And revenue reduce it or whatever. I'm afraid of. Freezing these positions. Because we're having a problem now. Even our city clean the way it should be. And we're going to freeze those positions. Where will we be in? Yeah, you understand?
Yes, ma'am, I'm with you. Work still gotta be done.
Yeah. I know. But you still can support it.
Without rate increases.
We want to sit here and remain clean.
Without the rate increases and keeping the budget the same as it is now, we're, pulling 406,000 from reserve.
Without any changes.
Without any changes, but without rate increases.
How much would you pull from reserves if you didn't raise your?
406,210. Then next year, that, the referendum or that bill gets approved, it'll be another 500,000, what you say, 400,
4.4.
almost, get close to $1 million per year. Really bad time and losing Harper at the same time. You're probably cutting your property tax. Complete opposite swing.
I don't know how far we can go. That's trying to let our constituents know. Voting yes with me to our services.
I wrote my letter to the editor.
Yes, Lord. We have work to do, like I said.
Everybody I talked to, I try to explain it to them what they're really voting on. It's just a greater division between wealthy and poor to me.
Yes. And it's always the poor man who has to pay costs.
And if they try to word that bill, they can't understand it.
If people do not understand personal fixed income.
Look at page 2.
Capital outlay. Capital outlay. This is all the capital outlay requests we had. And I've already rejected 1.1 million.
124,000.
I approved one of the pickup, or yeah, that pickup, yeah. I don't like it's yellow, but I approved one instead of two.
So I just had it yellow just to show that he only approved one, but in the actual figure, only one of them are approved. I divided that number by 2. In what is proposed.
So it's 62.
Garbage containers is not capital outlay.
That's where they've always been put. I said the same
You
thing.
put it where you want it.
Okay, I would.
Yeah.
John, on the drainage pool off of Allison and Kathleen. Will we be able to pull out some of that grant money to get that done, or you're gonna have to look for a different grant?
Talking about
Under street, something.
Under the, yeah,
We had a note that you believe stormwater master plan will identify cleaning of all drainage ponds, then you can get grant funding.
that's my plan. Let's get the master plan from the engineers. Who's gonna have a list of action items.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's gonna be towards the top. Let's clean all of those out.
okay.
Then it'll be ways to get grant funding.
And they're working on right now.
They should have been done with it by now.
Yeah,
I'm tired of engineering.
not our current.
I would, 511-400, I would make that 0.
General fund.
That's council's training. Does everyone agree to that? Does everyone else? Consensus?
Yeah.
You're on council, legislative services, training and per diem.
Y'all do go to League of Cities every now and then.
And Miss Landry has been attending the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council.
I'll make it 0.
I will, if it's a consensus.
We don't make the council train, but not everybody else. I mean, there has to be some trains done.
Yeah, he only said,
Sorry,
he only said council.
I was.
And your grand total. 114,029.
That last page.
That's in violation of the charter.
Where? Alright. The grand total, what's in, clarify. What do you mean? Clarify what you mean, please. Are you talking about the one that I gave you where it's a deficit?
The what?
Which page, are you looking at the packet or the sheet by itself?
That with no rate increases.
Correct, but we're presenting a balanced budget. That was just a hypothetical.
Oh.
That was just to show.
Okay. Before Assembly times.
It'll be in September.
Yeah, we typically put on for all of those meetings. Would y'all like to do budget workshops itself instead of meetings? Last year we just did them in the meetings, but it's always, y'all asked for it to be an option.
I guess maybe works out at least. Yeah, we're just gonna need some time to get through it, digest it for a few days. I guess at the next meeting, we decided we're gonna do a workshop.
Okay.
That work for everybody?
I forgot to start my annual picture.
17.6% increase. That's been another one of those inflationary years. Anyway, any more discussion on the budget for now? And what's wrong? We're gonna have, does everybody want to have a workshop? Well, see, well, let's just go over this next couple of weeks, we'll decide that next week. And if we would need one.
This health insurance, it's, nobody knows what to do.
A family plan to the city is $2,941 a month.
I was,
Per person.
The first.
it's a group, and we had about 20,000 lives. And we couldn't make it work.
And how much does the city pay?
65%.
65. What should it go? 7.5, what you said?
I'm gonna beat them one day, so there's a Florida statute 110-1228. It allows any city, county, or school board in a small municipality to be able to get on the state plan. But they put some messed up language in there that we have to be our own buying group if we join them. We'll be on the state buying group, and that defeats the whole purpose of this law. It came into effect 2001, and not one single municipality has joined it, because they made it so
Somebody did it
convoluted.
to say they did it.
Yeah.
And that it wouldn't actually happen.
Wouldn't actually do it.
Probably work off working. Do it,
The guy on the phone actually said, you're shooting yourself in the own foot if we make you put on your own buying power, because we're gonna
Do
charge
the
you.
same thing you do here.
Yeah, but we're in a larger group here, because we're with a few other people. So we'd be our own group. One
A
cancer
smaller group,
policy,
which means you're ready for
yeah,
people.
one cancer policy, we shut the city down.
I mean, you're right about that, which is something that,
Campaign.
yeah. We're gonna do it, but we're gonna make it not worth it. All right, any more discussion on that? If not, and number 6J, we're ready for that. Council the city manager evaluation, cancel the anything necessary.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Good.
They don't have any evaluations. Yeah, nobody knows what evaluation.
Do I have them all? I give them to.
Well, I bet that, I mean,
I basically,
We'll make sure we have them all at the next one. I think everybody turned it in, but it was later and
okay,
closer to the deadline and
all right, we'll do it next week. You know, 6K approved for minutes for July 14, 2026, regular session.
Look at the capital outlay,
So I
Eight
put up
to
the
six.
packets. So I told them,
police department.
Yeah.
72,000.
62 plus the 10 for the
yeah.
SQL, whatever that was,
Where is it? How do you get 72?
62 plus 10.
So the SQL computer server is 10,000. And then one patrol vehicle, because the only approved one is 62,000. That's 70. He didn't approve both of the patrol vehicles.
It's not on mine.
He's got to divide the 124 in half, because I only approved one of the two vehicles they asked for.
It is there, Mr. Brown. I'll look at it with you after.
Anyway, the agenda, the minutes agenda. Minutes.
so they're gonna approve next meeting, because I've got through the packet yesterday for everybody to look at them, but you have them now. I gave them to you, so you have them now.
All right, let's do the next meeting. All right. Down. How we stand, man?
well. No, no.
All right, for sure, you got any? Saying. Yeah.
Splash pad. One of the tallest one out there is the one that has the 4 streams of water coming out of it. It's weeds all in the top of it, so it's stopping on the side of it from the water draining down. Next year, green.
Like Bill. You back?
Oh, wait a minute, it was one more thing I'd like to say. I just wanna go on record thanking Danielle and, Stephanie for the great job and the other work I never got his name. That when they cleaned Lock Ridge and they cleaned Jerkin Splash Pad.
Ben was there, and Jerry.
Yeah, well, just let them know that I appreciate it and thank
Cheers on new parks, yeah.
And John picked up.
you. What?
He did.
He did. Now,
Picture of it.
now Stephanie and Camry also picked up the trash out of Rose Head. They got in the boats and picked up all the trash out of Rose Head, so it's been cleaned off.
Tell them which I stopped by there and I talked with them and I got out and looked to see
Yeah.
what they had to face.
Yeah.
But just tell them, I told them also, but I just want everyone to know how much I appreciate it.
Do I have to sign?
Can I look at?
You doing?
Yes. Where's that one?
He only.
Well, I answered a couple, but it's hard. Yeah, I mean, also. They don't, I mean, I'm here. I did just go back to the sound. I got the for these nights on this today. Like, so we have like comments with her things, so hopefully
That's.
that I can back. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is.